We are live. Who would like to give a recap?
I'll take control of that. So I was hoping to do it semi in character with Contadina, the lady.
Yep.
Yeah, sweet. Okay, cool. Well, anyways, how we would approach her and say that he was like he was going to tell her a great story. Anyways, so uh, so I left. So yeah, he left here. Horns were being blasted, and he was arrested. Kajika was left behind, and he was skulking around with his dwarf friend. And Lucirosi was negotiating terms with the town guard. Helwe ended up getting pulled off to jail, while the rest of the group were preparing. I'm pretty sure they were. What are the rest of the guys doing? I forgot.
We mostly skipped ahead to the next day after you got arrested.
Okay. Cool.
T-Hole was looking for his pants the whole time, though.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So Helwe slept. He ended up. Yeah. The Chamberlain ended up coming to see him in the night, and he talked about. The Chamberlain talked about overthrowing the churches. And called Helwe a baby eater, and then he started getting fatter, and so he prepared for the next night. And then the next day, the crimes were declared, the fight started, and then we ended up going back and meeting up with Daggerface. And we talked to him a little bit, and he said that he wanted us to go back to Alkai Tor. Yeah, sorry, I did horrible. I had a script, but I sort of went off it.
And when exactly, this is Lady Aristra speaking, and when exactly did you fight the demon?
Well, I was being charged. Sorry, hang on. Give me a second. I need to go to the bathroom. This is horrible.
In character. So yeah, to fill it out somewhat, when the Chamberlain came to talk to him, he wound up partially transforming into a demon at the end of his speech. The next day, the sun flared and fire engulfed Helwe and the Chamberlain, and it forced the Chamberlain to turn back into a demonic form. That's when the fight broke out. Once the fight had ended, the guards that weren't killed or fled agreed to let you go, and so you wandered back to the tower where Seamus Holbein had woken up, although he claimed that Seamus Holbein was dead and that he would forever forward be known as Daggerface, and wanted to be an adventurer like you who managed to save him and save the elves of Alkai Tor. And that's roughly where we ended it.
Yeah.
So just a note on demons in general, things that, I mean, certainly some of you would know. T-Hole, Lucirosi, and Zarius would know that demons were kind of like the first of the corrupted. There were, other than, there were these beings that sort of formed out of chaos itself called the Oberonth. And the Oberonth came and tried to form, initially they were trying to form devils, but the first thing they formed was so horrible and displeasing that they just set it loose. And it turned out that they thought that thing would die, but it didn't. It turned into Frazer Blue, the first demon lord. And he began, with the help of the Oberonth later on, to construct the race of demons from angels and other celestials that they were corrupting. The difference between the gods and demons and devils is that demons and devils can't freely travel amongst the planes. They can't get essentially out of the lower planes without some sort of help. So for them to come to this world, to the mundane world you all live in, usually requires some sort of gateway that somebody, generally speaking, a created, has set up that they've come through. So somebody has conjured them or cast a gate spell or something like that. It's not just that they plane shift their way in here. As such, they're kind of rare. Sometimes you come across them and they've just been in hiding forever, or were somehow sealed up on this plane a long, long time ago, and they've escaped. But it's always a question of where these demons have come from, because it's so difficult for them to get here, and they've been sort of sealed out of the inner planes, basically. That's what you would be aware of. Where this demon came from, you don't necessarily know, but it's unusual, certainly for a being of this power to get here, because the more powerful the demon, the more powerful the conjuration magic or the gate to get them here. So you are in the Tower of the White Quills. Seamus Holbein has woken up, and you've just spoken with him. Hellweir has discovered a coaster under the head of his giant club. Mavis is shaking her fist at him.
I think Lucerosi was like off moping or something.
Yeah, Lucerosi was trying to find a moment of zen. Because he was really... You guys noticed that after the fight with that demon, he was really amped up and seemed out of sorts compared to how he normally is. Really had lost his composure and seems to be struggling with some things.
What's the rest of you doing?
I am emailing my scripts because I'm a fucking failure.
So T-Hole walks into back into the White Quills, and he is donning what can only be described as T-Hole's multicolored pants, or dream pants. They're worn. The trousers have various strips, vertical strips from waist to ankle of kind of subdued colors that are sort of rainbow-like, but they're, there's like some blues and some greens and some oranges, some yellows. They look fabulous. Says
to some people.
Ha! I thought I would find you guys here. Hellweir, that's a new weapon. Who did you kill to get it?
Hellweir just looks displeased and grunts and walks away. Because I'm still forwarding this email.
Well,
I believe he had something to say, but forgot about it.
I like to think that Hellweir worked up this whole speech to give about the whole fight, and then just forgot it. Like a moment of stage fright.
Well, speech was never one of Hellweir's strong suits, so I don't blame him. Is anybody else? I was just kind of assuming I was walking into the common room. Is anybody else there?
They'd all be up on the second floor, basically, where basically the second floor is laid out to take on some of the rooms are set up like classrooms. The other rooms are set up like hospital beds.
Yes.
You probably would have run into Lucerosi first then, because Lucerosi was downstairs, probably in the common room. So you would walk in Lucerosi with Salasri kind of over his lap, and he's just kind of opening and closing his hands and making really tight fists. If he weren't covered in fur, you would be able to see that he was like really white knuckling whenever he was making a fist. And he's kind of staring into the middle distance, deep in thought. So he probably wouldn't even notice you at first.
Ah, Lucharosi, you look as rigid as ever.
T-hole, where have you been?
Finding this glorious set of pants. Do you like him? And he kind of like does a turn around and kind of shows off his rear a little bit.
They're certainly befitting of you.
Yes. You
Well,
look long.
I'm sorry, what?
You look long.
Well, you missed a great battle. We just had an interesting encounter with a demon posing as the Chamberlain.
A demon inside the walls. Now that's concerning.
Yes, it is.
How do you suppose he got here?
Any thought that I have would be pure guess, but it is certainly concerning that he was here. It means that there is some kind of compromise, or I don't know. It was a hard fought battle.
I am sad to have missed it, but I am happy that my pants were not torn in such an encounter, as I'm sure they would have been.
Yes. Well, the others are upstairs. Apparently, Samus is awake again. I'm sorry, I'm not much company right now. I'm a bit shaken up after that encounter with the demon.
What ails you so? Isn't fighting demons one of the things that the Church of Ashros does well?
It is certainly one of my callings to snuff out the darkness wherever it might be found. But this is the first time that I can recall ever actually encountering something so destructive and such a demonic presence. I've never seen such a thing, and I'm not quite comfortable with how it left me feeling afterwards.
Well, I'll leave you to it.
Oh, I can't hear all of a sudden. Shit.
Now he'll never know he's been left to it.
Can't fucking stand these headphones. I don't know why. I don't know what it is. Yeah, I do. It's a mistake, isn't it?
T-Hole just said I'll leave you to it.
Okay.
So then I'm gonna wander upstairs.
They're not Bluetooth though.
I'm gonna wander
To what?
upstairs to probably where everybody else is.
Okay. As you wander upstairs, the Duke goes over to Daggerface now and says, obviously, these men can come and see you whenever they like. You should continue to rest here. And then he turns and faces directly at Kajika. However, Kajika, I must say, now that you have shoved a weapon in my face, you have two choices. Either you surrender your weapons for your time here in the tower, or you leave the tower. The rest of you are, of course, welcome to stay if you like. I would understand if you felt you needed to accompany your companion, but I cannot have an armed lunatic wander the halls of the same place where my daughter is residing.
Well, no problem. I'll keep my weapons and find a place to sleep. And I walk away.
So he is following after you to make sure you are headed towards the door, not just wandering the halls. And you cross as T-Hole enters the room in his multicolored pants.
Kajika, where are you going?
He is being escorted from the building.
On what grounds? He's a jolly
On the
fellow.
grounds that he shoved a gun into my face.
Well, that is quite serious.
Well,
Did
it's
you
not-
give him cause?
Well, it's not like it went off.
Did you give him cause to shove a gun in your face? Or was he just being ornery?
Well, apparently this well-trusted Chamberlain, who I repeatedly asked, should we trust him, turned out to be a demon. And our friend here, the Duke, didn't realize that. So I'm not really trusting many people in this town. Besides, I wouldn't want to be here much longer because Sedamamadia is going to turn this into an ash pit.
Sadamamadia?
Shamalama ding dong.
That too.
All right. Well, I'll suppose I'll join you outside shortly.
Is T-Hole proficient in religion?
Let me check. Let's see, where is it? I had it up. Now I gotta pull it back out. Yes, I am.
Then you would pretty much know that he was referring to the chief deity of the hobgoblins.
Okay. Is that something that should concern me? Like, should I be concerned that we're going to turn this town to ash?
I mean, you don't necessarily. You've not heard of the great Red Bull of Heaven turning cities to ash, but certainly the hobgoblins are pretty warlike.
Oh. Well, is this town marked?
It's about to be.
I see. What is our benefactor think of that? Because he's also hearing that.
Are you saying that you will bring the wrath of your god down upon this town?
No, I don't have that kind of power, but he sure does. I don't know if you keep putting demons and devils in charge of this place. That's what's going to happen.
Well, I mean, coming from a culture that worships the devil.
Uh-huh.
Well, we've all made a bad mistake worshiping the wrong gods here or there. You know, it's water under the bridge.
Well, T-Hole, you may not have heard, but Seamus Holbein is awake again, and as he says it, you hear from the bed, Daggerface! As he says the name Seamus Holbein. You may wish to visit with him. I do not know how well you knew him, but Kajika has been asked to leave.
Yes. I'll join you momentarily, Kajika. So I guess then I'll go. I'll like curtsy my trousers, and then walk over to where Samus Holbein is.
So he's still laying in bed. He's in like simple white clothing. One side of his face is still pretty messed up. A lot of his nose is missing. There's a really deep depression on the left side of his face where the eye is now missing, and a lot of the muscles and some of the skull underneath of it has been carved out. Skin has been stretched over the area, but falls into sort of deep shadow, so it just looks like a hole. You can still see there is a bit of like the skin hasn't fully healed over. There are still marks where you can see the stitches, and there's one patch of hair in the midst of it where just tiny hairs are just sticking out of this one patch, thick hairs.
Ah, Samus, good to see you. You look better than ever.
Dagger, my name is Daggerface. Seamus Holbein is dead now. The Mind Flayer killed him. I am what remains. I am Daggerface.
Indeed. Well, the name fits you. Why Daggerface?
Because I had a dagger in my face. Pretty straightforward, actually. Are you one of the heroes who killed the Mind Tyrant?
Yes. And T-Hole like props his hands up on his hips and kind of looks off in the distance, trying to look heroic. Yes, I'm indeed T-Hole, the wise.
You are all great heroes for what you've done. I hope I can be half as great as you one day.
Well, I hope so too. I think
know
you could use a better name. Something like Dagger in your face. It's a little more intimidating.
I don't like dagger in your face. Daggerface conveys so much.
Well, what is your
argue with that.
mission now?
Sorry, what did you say?
What is your mission now?
Well, I understand your group needs my help, and I am willing to do whatever is necessary, but before I go, I need to find the person who murdered Seamus Holbein's sister, and I must recover the axe of the Holbein family.
Has out of character. Well, I guess I wouldn't know. So have you heard about Lexicus and the doors?
Only what your friends have told me. I don't know Lokexicus, but I know I'm supposed to open a door.
Yeah, we went through a lot of trouble to rescue you so you could open this door. So can you open this door for us before anything else?
But I can't allow Gruzza to escape.
I mean, she's already got a good couple weeks ahead of you.
Has it been weeks? I have a mercenary company in the hills north of here. They were supposed to be keeping watch on her. They should know where she is if they haven't yet moved on.
Will they recognize the authority of Daggerface?
They would recognize me as Seamus Holbein and recognize my authority in that way. It may be difficult to explain to them how Daggerface came to be born.
No. My mom always said changing names is never easy. So I think you have a bit of a curve in front of you. But if you succeed, then you will have accomplished your first greatest task as Daggerface.
I suspect when they see me, they will respond as if I was still Seamus Holbein. In any event, I believe they will still tell me where she is if they know.
Could you have word sent to them to track Gruzza, or have them track Gruzza on your behalf?
I doubt I could simply send them word and then have them treat that as if it came from me. They should be tracking Gruzza no matter what, but the difficulty will be in finding them again. As it is close to winter now, or it may be winter, I'm sure they will move on soon. They've only been paid through until the first deep snows of winter. And I saw some snow on the ground this morning.
I see.
So I must act quickly to find them, and to find Gruzza.
And presumably bring some money to them so that they will stay through the winter.
Well, if I can find Gruzza, I do not need them to stay. It will be more money than I think I have to make them stay through the whole winter. But you have to understand, Gruzza is a murderer, who not only killed Seamus Holbein's sister, she allied herself with that thing. She was willing to let people die and to help it draw the brains out of their skulls. She is evil. Surely great heroes like you will want to deal with her.
I'm surprised you didn't deal with her when you had the chance.
Well, I was trying to figure out where the elves had disappeared to. I had no doubt that she was somehow involved with them. But without knowing where she was keeping her prisoners, and at the time I did not know there was a mind flayer involved, I thought it best to find them. However, when my group entered the swamp, we were immediately captured. And then in the temple, we were all tortured. All of my group killed, except for those turned into thralls. And then Gruzza appeared. She wasn't even a thrall. She was just working with the beast.
Is that usual?
I don't know what.
I'm just saying, like, in general, presumably T-Hole has some knowledge of mind flayers.
Right.
And maybe a bit more. Is that like a normal thing? Or does that sound unexpected to him, that there would be somebody willingly working with a mind flayer?
Give me a history check. I mean, you don't know why someone would willingly work with a mind flayer. I mean, I think you would think it also equally curious as to why a mind flayer would want non-thrall when it could just turn them into a thrall. But other than that, you don't really know that much.
I see. That concerns me. While you were being tortured, did the Carol Hool mention anything that indicated what it wanted or where it was coming from, where it came from?
Carol Hool, as near as I can tell, was insane. All it wanted was to exterminate elves. First the elves at Alkai Tor, and eventually the elves everywhere. Why it was interested in Gruzza, I do not know. Gruzza did give it a gift, but once she had done that, what her relationship was with Carol Hull, I couldn't say clearly. The gift that she gave him was the dagger Carol Hull used to carve up my face, giving birth to Daggerface.
Curious where she got this dagger.
That I don't know. She had it on her when I first met her in Alkai Tor.
Perhaps it would be wise to go after her. But alas, it is a group decision.
Right now, I think it's just you and Zarius in the room. T-Hole is dragging the club around. Kajika's outside.
You mean Hellweir?
Hellweir is...
Yeah. Hellweir is dragging the club around. Lucia Rossi is brooding, and Kajika is outside.
What do you think? What do you think of this, Zarius?
I am tired and dozing. I lost track of your conversation.
Well, Daggerface here wants to go after his after Gruzza, and that may not be a bad idea. Because apparently he's not willing to go with us to actually open up the door, which is what we need.
He does not need to be. He is only but one man.
We need him to open up the door.
We bring him with us. Until
he's not willing to go until until Gruzza is dead.
He does not have to go willing, though it would be easier.
I would prefer not to have to explain to people why have a bound up noble dwarf.
I do not believe he counts himself among nobility any longer.
He doesn't, but his former compatriots might.
While I find many of these short ones to be fairly similar looking, he is quite unrecognizable anymore. But let us consult with the rest of the group.
So back to Lucia Rossi, you see you've asked the Duke of his library. He's still marching Kajika out, so sort of distractedly he says, yes, although for that sort of research, I will send Contadina to you.
Thank you, Duke.
Then he closes the door on Kajika outside. And then he turns back. I do not know the name Kolrazog. This is the demon that you slayed?
The demon, while it was pontificating before and while we were combating it, had claimed to be named Kolrazog. It's not something I'm familiar with. I don't know the names of many demons. I'm not sure if there are even records, but I need to know more.
Well, I am sure Contadina would have in her private library. I don't know if she would have specific information on this demon, but she certainly has a fair amount of research material on demons in general. I will find her and send her down. Do not allow Kajika back in, please.
Yes, I understand why you are a bit put off by his actions. I'm sorry?
He walks away.
Yeah.
What's Hellweir doing?
Still getting over his losing his voice. He'd just be gearing up for travel, essentially.
Okay. So T-Hole and Zarius, were you going to go find the others?
Yeah. So we probably go back down to the last known sighting of
Lucirosi.
Lucirosi, yes.
So you get there just as Lady Contadina shows up, and she says, Lucirosi, I've been told you need access to a library.
Yes, I am hoping to do some more research on this Kolrazog and his kin.
Well, I can give you access to the library here. I'm afraid, as I understand it, you've been disinvited from traveling with us back to Montvert. So you'll have to do the research here, I'm afraid, and we leave tomorrow morning, so you'll have to do it this afternoon and this evening.
So Lucirosi looks to T-Hole and T-Hole and Zarius, who just came in, and he says, "Do we have time for me to do this research while we are making our travel plans?"
Well, Kajika is standing outside. So I'm sure that Kajika he will have to find a place to stay tonight if we decide to stay the night.
We should. This was a tough battle from this morning. Many of us need time to recover.
Yes, you look exhausted.
She says, well, this is stupid. And she goes over and opens the door and says, Kajika, can you come inside and just stay in the foyer, please?
I guess so. I guess the foyer is acceptable ground for His Highness.
Probably not, but he'll yell at me, so he'll get over it.
All right.
So she lets you back into the foyer. Now,
Okay.
as I understand it, the rest of you are welcome to stay here in the tower if you like. As is Kajika, if he would surrender his weapons.
I will get you your bedroll.
Yeah, we saw what happened when Hellweir surrendered his weapons. No, thank you.
She also adds, before you go, I would like to get your personal accounts of what happened. I was here, obviously, in the tower, so I don't know any of the details of the fight you had. I think Hellweir tried to tell me, but
Lucirosi volunteers that the Chamberlain, he was riling up the crowd trying to. It seemed like he was using the situation with Hellweir to bring the people's opinion of the four churches into question, to make the people turn away and riot against the church. But it seemed that he was surprised when he touched Hellweir, and I was quite surprised as well when Hellweir erupted into flame and the Chamberlain, burning at this touch, transformed before our eyes, claiming to be Kolrazog. So,
Well, someone should take down your full accounts, as I would hate for the details of this to be lost. And my guess is that your memories of it would be clearer than any of the other spectators of the fight. Probably a number of the details will start to be exaggerated or changed if someone waits too long.
Just ask that one accountant.
She clearly doesn't know to whom you are referring. He's like, but for now, let me get you access to the library. You can use it as much as you like, although when I leave, it goes with me. And she takes a piece of chalk out of a pouch at her bag and goes down to the floor and puts a mark on the floor and then one about 3 feet to the side of it and begins to draw a line up. And you see somehow the chalk is coming off of the piece of chalk in her hand and suspended in air like she's drawing on an invisible board. And she makes an arch over down to the second point on the floor. And you see the space between it opens up and you can see a library on the other side. This archway hanging in the air. There seems as though there's firelight in there, and you can see it's what looks to be a fairly expansive library on the other side.
Contadina, this is quite impressive.
Well, I have need of my library, so it's easier to take it with me.
Well, I appreciate you offering its usage to me while we remain here.
And she leads you through. It is a very good library. It's probably the equivalent of like a major university's library. But she leads you over to the section on religious figures, and then the subsection that deals with demons personally, like individual demons and their histories, to the extent it's known. And then she takes you to another section that she says might also be, it's more general demon lore. And she says it's much less likely that you'll find a reference to a specific name here, but maybe. You never know.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's based on this intrusion that the demon was able to fool so many within Watchtower. It is important to know if any such instances like this have occurred in the past, or if anything more can be learned about this Kolrazog figure.
Has anyone figured out what happened to the real Lord Reshield?
Not to my knowledge. Following the fights, we did our best to help those that were injured and immediately returned here.
Well, that's understandable. I'm sure you all could use a rest. But the Lord Reshield had been in town politics, a fixture for decades, as I understand it. So he almost certainly couldn't have been a demon all that time without revealing his true nature. Or he's the most disciplined demon I've ever heard of.
Well, one one must have faith in Asheros that he would not allow for such a deception to occur for so long. But I have heard rumors that people on the outskirts, beyond the wall, had been suffering murders and children being taken and eaten. So it is possible that the beginning of those instances would align with the Chamberlain being substituted for Kolrazog.
And then I wonder, was he merely shape changed into the form of the Chamberlain, or was the Chamberlain possessed? If possessed, then presumably when you destroyed the demon, you probably destroyed the Chamberlain's body. Otherwise, the Chamberlain may simply have been killed by the demon long ago, I mean.
Unfortunately, I believe, regardless, the fate of the Chamberlain is tragic. Hopefully it was quick, and hopefully it did not impact the purity of his soul.
Well, unless you object, I may go look into that.
I have no reason to object such a thing.
Very well, then. Feel free to use the library. It shouldn't close. If it does close, I will come back to get you at some point.
Tentatively, Lucia Rossi says, thank you, Katarina. Hopefully it does not close.
And she walks out. She doesn't leave the tower immediately. She goes back upstairs.
All right, so Lucia Rossi will start looking through the books.
What do the rest of you want to do?
Zarius will bring down Kajika's bedroll so that he can sleep down there in the foyer.
Is it still is it afternoon? Is it gotten to afternoon yet?
Yeah, it's just barely afternoon. I mean, it was morning when you had the fight. It's just a couple of hours later. So it's probably about noon at most.
Okay.
So,
and eventually, Contadina comes back down and says, Kajika, I've been told it's okay for you to stand in the foyer for a little while, but you are still being asked to leave. So if you could roll that bedroll back up, and you can unroll it outside.
Okay. I don't say anything. I just walk out.
She walks out with you and starts walking north.
Well, I watch to see where she's going.
Are you going to follow her?
Sure, why not?
Are you being stealthy about it?
Yep.
Okay, give me a stealth roll.
Stealth roll. Okay, hold on here. Come on, dude. All right. Eventually. 17.
So give me an insight check.
16.
You become aware that she knows you're there, but she isn't reacting to it. Like, she will occasionally give you a glance backwards, not necessarily trying to hide the fact she knows you're there, but you think maybe she's trying to let you think that your attempt at stealth worked.
Okay.
Aw, how cute. He's trying to follow me.
But you follow her north, and she goes back to the palace of the Marquis.
Yeah, and how are things at the palace? I'm sure they're all nice and quiet.
As you go further north, you begin to see there's a lot more of the Marquis's troops out in the streets, and a lot fewer just regular people going about their day. So it seems as if like shops are closed, people are off the streets. Around the palace itself, there are dozens of guards in the streets around the palace. She has a relatively easy time just walking through them because they know who she is. You wouldn't be able to just stealth your way in, not without being more clever.
No, that's fine. I see where she goes and just kind of like hang out, because I'm sure it's one way in, one way out, maybe.
There are a number of buildings that make up the palace. It's not necessarily clear it's one way in, one way out. She goes through the sort of main entrance, but there are like servants' entrances and delivery entrances and things. There are other ways out.
Okay.
The stables are around back.
Yeah, I'll just kind of loiter out there in the front.
Okay. So you're keeping watch for her. What are other people doing? Lucia Rossi is researching.
Yeah, Hilby would be dragging his club around the house. He's looking for Lucia Rossi. And I'm hoping eventually he'd find him. And
you eventually do come across like the archway hanging in the air that seems to lead into a darkened library. It's lit by fire. It's lit by torches, but you can't see daylight. It's clearly daylight around you, but you can't see daylight in the library itself. But you see in that room there is Lucia Rossi.
Lucia Rossi, I don't know what to do with this club.
Without looking up from his book, he says, well, perhaps you could just leave it outside.
Like you said, it might be some sort of demon magic on it. Do you want it?
If I use my sense corruption ability, does it appear to emanate any kind of corrupting influence or anything like that?
You get there's a faint aura of evil about this thing, of fiendish presence, but you would guess that is just a residue from it being in the possession of that creature for so long.
Mm-hmm. So, Lucia Rossi will he'll look up and say, have you asked Zarius or T-Hold to examine it? They are better at understanding magical energies than I.
So we would just grunt and just walk back the other way looking for Zarius or T-Hold. Whoever comes first.
You would have actually noticed T-Hole, and I believe Zarius hasn't moved either. We were both standing like right in front of that archway.
Zarius would have gone someplace comfortable and just sat down. Cast a little bit of healing on himself too.
We would turn around and he'd be like, "Oh, I cannot take this with me. Who wants it?" And he just throws it onto a table.
The table probably breaks.
So you throw it onto a table. One of the nails from it sticks down right into the table.
I cannot carry this around. It's sort of like a giant log with nails in it. That's how I imagined it, at least.
Yeah.
Is this weapon from the demon you fought?
Someone having a shave?
T-hole can never be groomed enough.
And not possible.
That's just the sound of prestidigitation scratching the whiskers off.
Well,
That would be impressive.
tomorrow I can determine if there's any sort of magical auras upon it, but I cannot do so now.
I can determine that.
Then we do not need to wait.
So I can cast so if I did identify, would I would need to do detect magic and identify. Right, I could just do identify.
You could just do identify.
All right, so I'll use one of my slots to cast identify on this log with nails.
You are able to determine that there is some magic to it, but on this plane of existence, it doesn't function. If you were in the abyss, it's a +2 club. But once you get further and further from the abyss, the magic starts to leave it. And so this far away from the abyss, it's just a wooden club.
Ah. It seems you have some good firewood.
This is too heavy. And if we're taking our space, well then we're going to need extra limbs to carry that useless sack.
I think he can walk. He got stabbed in the face, not in the feet. But
He has not walked in weeks. He probably has forgotten.
I would give Daggerface some credit where credit's due. He's had a bit of a rough time. After all, to get stabbed in the face. But anyways, this weapon is no use of it in our world. It might as well just be chopped up for firewood.
I'd just leave it there on the table and walk away.
Can I determine like if the wood could be repurposed? If I could like carve a staff out of it or something?
You definitely could. I mean, you'd have to whittle away a lot of it.
I break off a piece
So you
of
might
it.
need you might need like a lathe. And the wood is, suitably hard that it could be made into a quarterstaff.
Sounds like it could be a fun project.
Till then, though, it just weighs 20 pounds.
Sure.
Yeah.
I will go out and I'll look for a woodworker.
So, okay, so give me an investigation check. See how long it takes.
Investigation, huh? Let's see. I don't know why I have mason's tools. I should have woodworkers. Makes more sense for me, really. All right, investigation.
I mean, I am not going, if you want to change it to woodworkers, I'm not going to say no. It's not like it's come up.
is proficient in carpentry.
I'm good with masons. It also does make sense, actually, if I'm making like gravestones and shit.
So yeah, you're able to find a carpenter shop almost immediately.
All right.
There's one next door.
I got power tools here. Yeah, I'll just go in and this thing you said it weighs like 20 pounds or whatever.
Yeah.
I could actually probably still carry that. I'm fairly strong, so I'll bring it with me and.
Do you
Just
pry
tell-
the nail out of the table? Chips of the table come up. As you walk out, Mavis
that's not a
goes into
problem.
that room.
I could before I leave, I'll use mending, and I'll repair the table, and then yeah, I'm not gonna drag it. I could like under the arm this thing.
Do you find a carpentry shop? Just as you leave the room, Mavis goes in and does not shriek because you've managed to mend the table.
Yeah, and then yeah, I'll bring it to the woodworker's place, and
So as you go in, you see this guy, almost like he's surprised that you've come in. Gods, what are you? Are you one of them lizard folk?
not quite. We eat more than children.
So, like adults? He looks a little concerned at that.
I just showed like the scariest dragonborn grin with like just sharp teeth. Maybe. And I just set down the log. I need a piece carved from this wood
Oh,
so that I may make a
Sure.
staff.
there are troubles afoot today. I was just about to close up for the day. Demons apparently are in town.
They're gone.
Well, one of them's gone, as I heard it, but you never know. Once evil gets in, more evil follows. How fast do you need this?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Like I said, I was closing up for the day. I don't need this kind of trouble. I don't need to be tempting demons coming in. And
So lock
I
your
don't even
doors.
know. How do I know you're not even a demon?
The old reverse psychology demon trick.
If I were a demon, I would just make you do it. Instead, I will pay you as best as I can. And I will sit guard for you in case any demons show up.
Well, all right. You're probably scary enough to get rid of the demons. So I guess that's a fair trade. If you want it tomorrow, though, that's just to make this into a staff. He picks it up. It's not that it's that complicated to do, I guess, except maybe for all these barbs and nails. But man, it's going to be a lot of just work. How's a gold sound to you?
Sounds like a gold. You shall have it.
All right. You stand guard. I'm going to lock the door, though. And he takes it over to a lathe and begins to sort of widen the lathe and braces it on so that it's held lengthwise. Using like a foot pedal, basically, he starts to get it to spin, and then he's slowly grinding this wood down. It's not going very fast, and at one point he says, "Wood it's harder than I'd have imagined. I could try to get it done by tomorrow. I'll do my best, but it is going to take a long time."
That is fine. And I'll pull out my other quarterstaff that has the snake head on it and just kind of lean on it and watch him look at the door every once in a while.
Okay. So he's just grinding away with like little flecks of wood flying, occasionally stopping and taking a tool out to try to pry a nail out of the thing. T-Hole, what are you doing?
T-Hole is fairly interested in the library. So he's going to walk in and peruse the library. Not looking for anything specific, just seeing if there's any books that catch his eye.
A number of the books you would, well, give me an investigation check. So a number of the books you find there, you would say are probably rare. At least a lot of them are fairly old. You would, from looking through it, you're sure that most of these books are history. At least the largest proportion of them are history compared to anything else. But it does cover a wide range of subjects, making it a pretty good research library for this historian.
I would be curious. Are there any books about like the history of the Empire?
Yes, there are.
I would pick one up and one of those books up and see if I could find my name in it.
Give me another investigation check. Try as you might, you don't find your name anywhere. You do find one reference in one of the older books that you're sure is a description of you. And it is someone who is described as integral to the formation of the empire. But the description is there without actually attaching a name to it.
Clearly, they left out the best parts of these. Some history. That's annoying.
And what's hell we're doing during this time?
I didn't think I'd be doing much. I think I'd just be lazing around at this point, doing nothing. I'm prepared to leave, so just waiting.
Okay. I mean, you more than anyone probably should want to rest. Because what are you at, like 0 hit points? Like 1 hit point or something?
I got like the super hit dice dump, which I did in the middle of that fight, so I've got a fair bit of health. Yeah.
So
yeah,
as you continue to laze around, periodically you see somewhere off in the distance Mavis doing what she thinks is stealth. But she's clearly just following you around from room to room, perching at doorways. Occasionally you'll see she'll be outside peering through the window.
On the second floor.
Notice on a glass ceiling. Yeah, I would just ignore her. I would just be doing other things.
Lusharosi, give me an investigation roll.
Alrighty.
You do find a reference to Kolrazog by name, and it does describe him as Demon Lord of the Oni. Whoever wrote this book, though, wasn't very impressed with him. They say that he was originally a very powerful Oni that got wrapped up in an encounter with Orcus and was twisted and turned into the Demon Lord of the Oni, having some authority over Oni in general, but otherwise, in the estimation of this writer, sort of a minor player in the politics because he's forever a thrall of Orcus, half undead, half giant.
So that's definitely going to be strike Lucerosi as being of interest, since now suddenly Orcus is in some way involved or related to what's going on with the door that they have to open, and the paladin that was the previous owner.
Right. So Kajika, after probably about an hour and a half, you see Lady Contadina comes back out through the main entrance again, walks through the lines of guards around there, nods at you, and continues south again back towards the tower.
Okay, I just follow her back to see if she's going back to the White Quills.
She makes it almost all the way to the White Quills when she stops and turns into a tavern.
Is there anything I can tell about this tavern by the name or anything?
It's called the Goose and Bear Tavern. But, I mean, it seems to be relatively upscale, meaning the drinks are probably expensive. But other than that, there's nothing particularly remarkable about it. It's mostly empty. Coming south, you see the streets are even more empty further south than they were before. Probably the news of the battle with the demon is filtering its way south, and people are disappearing into their homes or going home.
Okay. Is there anybody outside of the tavern hanging out, or?
No, not outside.
Okay.
There's very few people even inside the tavern, but you see she sat down and ordered 2 drinks.
Okay. So, yeah, I just go in. Do I get any strange looks?
Not so much. There's the barkeep's there and one barmaid is there. They don't seem to pay you much mind when you come in. They note that you're there, but Contadina raises her hand and waves you to come over.
Okay. I guess I reckon I'll sit down.
And the ale is positioned right at the other chair. So she motions for you to take the ale.
Okay.
Kajika, did you shove a gun into my Duke's face?
Well, of course I did. It's not like I shot him.
She smiles and shakes her head and begins to drink her ale. So tell me, how did you wind up working with a bunch of non-hobgoblin mercenaries?
That's a very good question you ask. What did you find out at the on your little visit?
Well, no one has. Obviously, men went in and searched the home of Lord Eckhart after the events. No one found a body or anything like that, although his wife was not there either. Whether she's out somewhere in the town or not, I don't know. But there was, from what I'm told, no sign of foul play or anything of that sort. I did find out that a few people believe he started acting more erratically starting about 4 or 5 months ago. Now, whether or not that is necessarily when the demon took him over or took his place, I don't know. But at least that's what people are telling me.
So who's taking over for him?
Well, the chief valet is usually next in line in terms of authority, so presumably he will take over the day-to-day governance of the city, at least until the Marquess returns or appoints someone else by letter. It's possible that the old town council, they still exist. It's possible they will try to assert authority. I don't necessarily know. I don't have comprehensive knowledge of the local politics.
Mm-hmm.
What about you? What do you think your group will do next?
I don't know. There's no telling with that bunch.
Well, I did hear from the Duke that apparently Daggerface wants to go and hunt down the murderer of his sister. I don't know how tied he is to that. Maybe you'll convince him to do whatever mission it is you fellows are on.
Well, that's not his sister anymore, so I don't know why he even cares.
Yes, there you would have to ask him. How a disturbed mind works is probably beyond us all.
Mm-hmm.
He may not actually be making much logical sense in terms of how he's prioritizing things.
You're probably right. And we'll probably put him up front and make him in the lead then.
So I would recommend, if you're in need of an inn, they do have rooms upstairs at this tavern. I've stayed here myself, although it was several years ago. It's comfortable and the rates are reasonable. But of course, you're free to stay wherever you like. I wouldn't recommend that you actually unroll your bedroll outside the tower, although I know that hobgoblins do pride themselves on their ability to withstand discomfort.
Kind of like conversations with the Duke.
I find the Duke to be perfectly affable, but then again, I've never threatened to kill him.
So is there any kind of roof access here at the inn tavern?
Not to my knowledge, although I've never thought to check.
What are they? How do they feel about fires in their rooms?
They have rooms with fireplaces. Do you mean something else?
Oh, just wondering. I don't want to get kicked out of another establishment.
Well, perhaps if you don't threaten to shoot anyone here, that will be a good first step. And of course, keep the fire in the fireplace.
This watchtower is cramping my style.
She laughs at that and continues drinking her ale.
Can I roll insight?
Yeah, sure.
So, I'm just she being upfront. Is she coming off as, a demon in disguise?
You get your sense is that she is trying to be friendly and that she was hoping you would actually tell her what you want Daggerface for, because she doesn't really know. You haven't told her about the door or any of that. So she's disappointed, but she's not pushing it.
Okay.
That you didn't offer up new information to her.
Well, to answer your first question, I'm here because my last group kicked me out because I wasn't violent enough.
Oh boy.
Well, I guess you're saying you're a former Grammaton monk.
No, there's no such thing as former Grammaton monks.
As I understand it, they are highly disciplined. I could see how you could easily run afoul of a group of highly disciplined militaristic monks.
They didn't find my methods appropriate in certain circumstances.
Well, it sounds like there's a whole story there. You should make sure it's documented. I'm sure it's fascinating.
If I had followed the code, I would have shot that Duke dead.
Well, seeing as he's my employer, I, for one, am glad you didn't follow the code then. And she finishes her ale. Do you want to walk me back to the tower, or are you staying here or going off on your own business?
Is it that dangerous? I guess
No.
so.
Just thought the company would be nice.
Yeah, I definitely don't trust her. Sure, I'll walk her back.
So you walk her back to the tower, and she says goodbye, reaches out a hand to shake your hand.
All right, and I do it.
Well, in case I don't see you again before I leave, best of luck to you and your group. If you are in Monver, feel free to say hello. I imagine you won't be allowed in the Duke's Palace there either, but certainly I'll be happy to come out and have another drink.
Sure.
She goes inside.
Okay. I just turn and go back to the tavern and try to get a room.
Do you get a
And,
room with a fireplace or?
So they do show you to a room. It does have a fireplace.
Does it have a window?
It does have a window.
Okay.
And that's how the Watchtower sniper was born.
So I'm just going to sit and meditate for an hour or two.
Okay.
Near the fireplace and perform just a simple ceremony. And
Okay.
crack the window open to make sure it doesn't get too smoky in there.
So you're doing that. The rest of the afternoon passes. I know T-Hole and Lucharosi, your research will take a while. The Carpenter's going to take a while to work on this club. And eventually Mavis tires of following Hellweir around since he's not doing anything interesting. So she leaves, but only for like 1 minute. And then she goes, aha! And pops back, jumps into the doorway. But you're not doing anything. So she wanders off. And the day passes, night begins to fall. The Duke comes around looking for Zarius, holding a book, but nobody knows where he is.
He just walked out of here holding that big club.
And then never came back.
Actually, I can let somebody know where I'm at. I just don't know if I would have thought to do so. I probably would have, honestly. Once it started getting late, like does this guy look like he's going to work through the night, or
For a gold? Yeah, he'll work through the night for a gold.
all right? Then, yeah, I'll cast sending to fuck, because I don't know when Lucharosi is going to come out of that place, so it won't reach him if he's in a different plane. And I don't know the full nature of that place, so.
Well, you can send it to other planes, but there's just a 5% chance.
Yeah, it's a 5% chance it'll fail. That's fairly low.
Yeah.
I'm just.
What could go wrong?
I got shit luck, so. Yeah, it would go to Lucharosi. He's the only one I can trust to actually let everybody else know. Maybe T-Hole too, but he might get distracted with fucking pants. So
You never know until you try.
I will try Lucharosi first. I guess I'll have to roll a 100, huh?
Yeah, you can roll. 0 to 5, we'll say.
All right, I'm good.
So
I got 80. I'll just.
It's good. That's good because I actually rolled here and I got 03.
Alrighty, cool. See here, is this the word limit one? 25 words. I took the club to be worked and will return. Before sending this, I guess I would have confirmed when he expects to be done.
He expects he will have it done in, before tomorrow, but it's probably going to be about midnight before he's finished.
Okay. There we go. So there we go. I sent that. Took the club to be worked and will return after midnight.
Okay.
You just hear this message in your head.
And you can respond if you want.
Yeah.
Okay. Lucirosi will just respond, is that wise?
He can't respond to your response, though, so. Unless he wants to cast a spell again.
Nope. Zero desire.
Well, as long as Lucirosi has made his point clear.
Zarius has read your message.
Received.
Yeah.
Yeah. There. Now it is known.
Who is looking for Zarius with the book?
The Duke.
Okay. So would the Duke come into the library at all, or would Lucirosi notice the Duke asking for Zarius?
He would come in. He seems to be aware of the library and so unfazed by the fact that it's in the middle of his foyer now.
Okay.
But he comes in and asks if you'd seen seen Zarius rather.
Zarius is out running an errand. He should be back soon, he says. Is there something I might help you with?
I was just going to explain to him how best to care for the remaining recovery of Daggerface and to give him this book as a gift for his helping with his recovery thus far.
I can certainly make sure that he gets it, if you would like to leave it with me.
I will write out instructions for what needs to be done to ensure the wound does not fester, and then put them in the book, and you can give it to him when you see him. Or if he comes back before then, I can explain it myself. But
Very
I will
well.
be going to bed soon. We are leaving early tomorrow morning to head back to Monver. I regret that we will not be able to take Holbein and you with us, but I cannot have Kajika traveling with my daughter.
It is understandable, Duke. We will make the best arrangements that we can. I'm sure Asheros will light our way.
I am certain that he will. So I will go write out the instructions and then return to you.
All right.
He leaves, and about 20 minutes to half an hour later, he comes back and gives you the book. There's one page sticking out of it.
Okay.
Just seems to be reference to keeping the wound clean and a recipe for making poultice out of relatively common herbs that should help keep it free of disease and help to assist the skin to grow back in. and minimize the scars on the graphs that are there.
Swanky.
And he excuses himself and goes to bed. Eventually, Mavis goes around and begins dousing all the candles. She doesn't come. She is a little more taken aback by the library having its doorway in the middle of the thing, so she gives that a wide berth. So she's definitely not going inside to try to douse the torches in there, but she's dousing lights everywhere else in the tower. And even from inside the library, you hear the big lock on the front door click as she locks the door for the night.
So Lucia Rossi, knowing that this is his one opportunity to study in this library, he's going to forego his long rest and just work throughout the night.
Okay, give me another investigation check.
You guys remember last time I forgone? Didn't do the long rest?
Who's gonna let Zarya see?
You are so exhausted from the fight and so tired not taking your long rest that you're reading things and then getting to the end and realizing you don't remember one word of what you just read. So you have to go back to the top and start reading again. And the sun begins to rise and you don't feel like you've learned anything new. You've definitely read through a lot of passages about various demons, but nothing really about Kolrazog or not even that much about Orcus.
It's unfortunate. All right.
And as you come out, you begin to see the room outside us now. There's a number of people in there, most of them armored. And you can see outside there is a large caravan of carriages and horses as people are loading things up for the journey to Bonver. Okay. And you can smell that there's a breakfast is being laid out, although it's simpler than the breakfast you had before. But Mavis had clearly got up early and has been cooking for a while.
Does Lucia Rossi get the sense that he would be invited to partake in the breakfast?
The Duke is there and is more than happy to have you come over and have some of the breakfast.
Okay.
Have you stayed up all night?
Yes, I just needed to get as much information as possible. Unfortunately, I think I was fatigued far more than I expected after the battle with Kolrazog.
Well, it frankly is amazing that you are able to take out a demon. I mean, not every demon is incredibly powerful, but at least from the stories I've heard so far, this one appeared to be monstrously strong.
Yes, the most concerning part for me was his ability or power, or what he was able to do in terms of dimming the sun, almost as if blocking the light of Asheros from the battlefield.
I had heard something about that. Perhaps it was because I was here in the tower, but I did not notice darkness falling upon us, and we would have, because as you no doubt have noticed, it takes a substantial number of candles and lamps to light this place at night.
Yes.
So if nothing else, it seems as if it was a relatively local phenomenon.
That calms my nerves a bit, but still it was a concern, and were it not for my companions, I don't know that we would have defeated Calabria.
Well, there is no shame in relying on your companion.
No.
I have never fought demons for the most part. I have fought devils, and I also would not have survived were it not for my companion.
Asheros does work to make sure that our needs are cared for one way or another.
Yes, he is often at work, and we do not understand how he is protecting us.
That is most assuredly certain.
To everyone other than Kajika, you would be woken up just by the sounds of people moving things. It's a fairly substantial effort, and a lot of people are going on this ride with the Duke. So the amount of foot traffic through the halls here is pretty heavy, and because the floors are marble and these people are, a lot of them in armored boots, there is a lot of sound of tapping that would disturb all of your sleep, except for Kajika, who's sleeping like a baby.
I think you underestimate the ability of a old man to be able to sleep through this shit. Especially when he's particularly worn out.
That's wrong.
Yeah, Hillary would have stomped in on that conversation and said, it was not Asheros. It was Anam, my greatest father. He marked me.
Would Lusharosi have ever heard of this Anam?
Are you proficient in religion?
I would be a poor paladin if I wasn't. Let's see.
I'm a cleric who is not, so.
I am proficient, yes.
So roll me a religion check. Anam, at least as the churches think of him, Anam is a heretical sect among the giants that do worship. They're worshiping Asheros, but they're worshiping him in the wrong way, and therefore that's a crime.
So Lusharosi hearing Helwyr acknowledge, even if it is in his own way, Asheros, and his role in that, would just smile and say, "Sure, Helwyr. We Anam certainly was looking out for you and us."
Or maybe he does not. He did set me ablaze. My skin is still white. I cannot get rid of it.
Yes, but if you recall, it was that blaze that harmed the Chamberlain and led to his transformation. Otherwise, we would not have known what enemy we faced, and it is very likely that, based upon how he had riled the crowd into a frenzy, that you may no longer have your head.
In any case, Asheros was not
there. If that is how you see it, Helwyr, I will not argue.
I need to start hoarding all the food.
By the way, do I need to do a check for exhaustion?
Is it a check? I don't remember. Yeah, I think you do. Constitution check.
All right. Check or save? I think it's a check.
Yeah, I think it's a check. That's enough to stave off exhaustion.
All right.
So, yeah, by the way, around midnight, the carpenter did finish up. He's worked pretty straight through, so he's like all noodle armed from trying to keep this machine going. Is wobbly in his step because his one pumping leg is tired. But he has carved it down to a straight quarterstaff and hands it over to you and says, that was the hardest wood I've ever worked. Might make for a good quarterstaff.
Oh, yeah?
I'll take the wood and just tell him. I suggest you burn the rest of it.
Fair enough. I mean, it's mostly like just shavings now and piles around this machine. But the quarterstaff is hard enough that if it ever comes down to it breaking, it's disadvantage on anybody trying to break it, and it's +1 to damage.
Alrighty. I'll probably during travel work some sigils into it and see if I can't imbue it with a little bit of my own magic. And then I'll head back. I guess this would have been in the middle of the night.
Yeah. So you head back, and the place is all locked up. Someone, probably Mavis, has set a bedroll outside.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine with me. I'll lay down.
So then in the morning, you're woken up when the line of carriages and horses starts to pull up.
I'll just go inside and lay down again somewhere else.
So later in the morning, there's enough food that even Hellweir can't hoard it all. And the people who were otherwise eating breakfast here mostly had it before Hellweir came in, started trying to bogart it. So the Duke and his whole entourage are loading up and getting ready to go.
By the way, can I roll hit dice over the night to regain some hit points? Since I didn't sleep. All right.
Is there a long rest, like quick long rest way on D20?
On what?
On Roll20, I mean.
Is there a quick way? A quick way to do a long rest?
Yeah.
On the character sheet?
Yeah.
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Just checking.
That would be kind of nice.
I think there's just a lot of different things that happen depending on your class. That makes it a little hard. Like some class abilities reset, some don't.
Yeah.
The only thing that's really certain is hit points, and then some people play with variant rules where you don't get back all your hit points on a long rest.
Yeah.
So it does get complicated. So unless someone stops him, the Duke says his goodbyes and sets off.
Yeah. Hellweir would pop up. He probably at the breakfast or whatever. He would start to talk about Seamus, and he'd say, "There's no way we can get him out of here, on his legs at least. Have you got some sort of pack mule that we can cart him with?"
I can certainly have someone provide you with a mule or a mule and a cart. I would recommend not moving him until he is able to walk under his own power, though.
Fair. Well, get it arranged anyway.
So he does call for a servant and says, "Bring around the cart that these people brought with them when they brought Holbein in. We should have their cart back. There are stables around the far side of the tower, away from the door. Your cart has been there. So where do you intend to take Master Holbein?"
It seems he needs to go to Alkai Tor again.
So you are going to hunt for his murderer, or the murderer he is seeking, rather.
It's either that or whatever else everyone else wants.
Well, it seems only fair, given that he is helping us with something that we return the favor by helping him.
Yes,
Well,
I don't disagree.
Let us not forget that we helped save his life, and there would be no Daggerface if it weren't for our efforts to help him.
True, but from the way that I see it, that could be considered a selfish motive, since we needed him to complete our quest.
But don't we still need him to complete our quest? And is not helping him still a selfish motive?
I am going for completely selfish reasons myself. I've heard there is a golden boar back in the swamp.
Yes. I forgot about that.
A golden boar?
Yes. Triandal left it. That damn elf king or whatever he wanted to call himself.
Do you mean a statue made of gold in the shape of a boar, or a trained boar of golden hair, or
I think it is a war boar, yes.
a war boar?
Yes.
That does sound fierce.
And
And
looked away.
Well, certainly it would be in our interest to help Samus then, so that you might come across your war boar.
Yes.
I think it would make for a great companion, or at the very least, a good dinner.
I agree completely. Goodbye, Duke.
I would just send us one message.
Oh, also, where is Kajika?
He's gone.
Yes,
Actually, you don't really know either. You know he was outside.
yeah.
Where he is now.
Did he stay the night with you, Zarius?
No. It was only me on the street.
Should we be concerned?
I will send him a message if he does not show up soon.
Hmm.
So the Duke says, well, good luck finding your boar. Although if it is locked away and you have been traveling for a few days, you should probably take some food for it.
Thank you, Duke. That is certainly kind of you. Your hospitality has been well appreciated.
You are certainly free to continue to stay here while we are away, Mavis. We'll tend to your needs. I would ask that Kajika not be allowed back in. However, I will not command such a thing, and you are free to make that determination on your own. Please ensure Mavis's safety at least.
That is appreciated, but I think we are heading on going out relatively soon as well. Is that not right, Zarius, T-Hole, and Helweir?
Yes. These pants have an urge to walk, and walking is what they'll do.
Well, I bid you safe travels then. We will be leaving now.
And to you as well. May Ashtaros light your path.
And yours. And he turns and leaves.
Is this caravan or whatever going past my my room?
I would say no, probably not. It would be very convenient for it to wind past this inn.
Oh, what time are they leaving? Because I know they're going, right? I know they're going in the morning.
Yeah, you know they're going. It is not that long after sunrise, so it's probably like 7:30.
Okay. Well, I probably would have been up before sunrise because I don't need much rest. And from a safe distance, watch the building. So I guess I would see them all show up.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't imagining that the inn was within line of sight of the tower. You could see the top of the tower, but not the base of the tower. Now I understand why you were looking for roof access.
What does his entourage look like? I mean, do they look like soldiers or guards that know what they're doing? I mean, is this...
For the most part, it's more or less a mix in terms of overall experience, but these are his men, they're not either long spear military or the Marquis's men. So he's been traveling pretty extensively with these people.
And where is he going?
He's going to Monver, which is the capital of Longspear. But you would know the majority of his land holdings aren't even in this kingdom. They're pretty far to the south and in the empire.
I know
all of these people probably have a somewhat swarthier complexion than you're used to seeing up in this region.
Do I know anything about the road to Monver or?
Yeah, I mean, you would know, generally speaking, there's more than one single road to Monver, but the major thoroughfare was one that was built by the Empire several centuries ago. It's largely paved and made of stone. Once upon a time, all of these roads were completely safe. It's not necessarily safe anymore because there are monsters afoot in the world, and they don't respect roads. So traveling can be somewhat dangerous from time to time.
Okay. So I just watch from, like, I would assume across the street from a safe distance as they get together and leave.
You watched as they've loaded up supplies into this caravan. And you see Contadina the Duke and his daughter come out and get into a carriage, and the whole caravan begins to ride on. The streets are still, particularly at this time of day, pretty empty, probably more empty even than usual because people are still scared of the demons.
Okay. So as soon as he is gone, I just walk across the street and then knock on the door.
So as you guys are standing in the hall where you were eating breakfast, you hear a banging on the door. And you see Mavis slowly makes her way over and opens it up and sees Kajika and closes it, locks the door.
So did we see him standing outside?
Yeah, I saw that he was there.
Maybe it's just good to walk away.
Yeah, she walks away.
Zarius will just look at the rest of the people sitting at the table. Anybody else looking to get up?
Helwig chuckled. That's that is a crafty hag.
Oh.
Then I'll get up and go to the door and open it.
Well, am I allowed in?
No, but come in.
Well, if you insist.
Good to see you. And T-Hole's like kind of waving like this. And he's got a mouthful of food. How are your sight?
I guess it was all right.
Zarius points to a plate of this stuff of bacon. He says, "The old woman has fried up pig. You should try it."
Isn't this town known for pork?
Yes.
Yeah. No, I don't think so. I ate the pork last time and had the strangest dream, so get that away from me.
Ika, did you get up to anything interesting last night?
No, nothing of note.
Shame.
Well, so then we're resolved to go with Daggerface.
Yes, is everything ready? I feel like we should probably head off soon.
Is Daggerface awake?
He's not down here, so he's probably not awake.
Zarius, you've been caring for Daggerface. Might you check on him? By the way, the Duke left this for you.
Zarius will look at it and just he'll read over it first before he gets up.
So there's one page stuffed into this book that is, as I've described it, it's just a treatment regimen for Daggerface's wounds. The book itself, however, is more of a general treatise on medicine. And it does seem to have, it seems to be somewhat more informative than other books that you've read on the subject. You feel like you might actually be able to learn something from it.
As long as it's written in a language I understand.
It's written in common, so.
Okay. Good, I know that.
But it probably will take. It probably will take about 40 hours to read because it's a thick book. It weighs 5 pounds. But if you finish reading it, you feel like you'll be even better at medicine than you are now.
Alrighty. Sounds good. It's not one of those like crazy magic tomes where I have to spend 40 hours within 6 days or some shit.
No, within a reasonable period of time, so you're not like forgetting what you've read. But if you finish the whole thing, you'll have expertise in medicine.
All right. Sounds good. I'll go up and
pretty swanky.
Check on Daggerface.
He is not awake yet.
That's fine. I'll just ensure everything is done that needs to be done as per the instructions.
Do you go to check the medical supplies here? They have most of what you need to make the poultices that he would recommend for Daggerface. So you change the bandages around his face and apply a different one. You also find that he left for Daggerface a porcelain mask to cover half of his face that can be essentially just strapped around the head, and a note saying goodbye.
Zarius probably almost tosses it. It's like, this doesn't go here. And then it's like, oh, I'll give him a chance to reject that. And then, yeah. And then does he wake whenever I do this?
Yeah, when you're changing out his bandages and applying the new poultice and all, that does wake him up. It's still, the wound is still somewhat painful for him. So that's enough to wake him up. And he sees the mask and reads the note and says, mask is a good idea, but this mask is too fancy for Daggerface. And he smashes the porcelain mask.
Yeah. That's exactly what I expected him to do. We will be leaving soon.
I'm ready. He begins to get up.
Wait there. You are not ready to walk. You must be carried.
My legs are strong. I can walk very easily. And he gets up, his legs, he like T-Hole said, he wasn't stabbed in the legs. So he gets up and takes a couple steps and then goes, ugh, and just falls like right onto his face.
Oh no.
No chance of catching that.
You could make an acrobatics check.
Acrobatics. Oh boy. Hey, all right.
Yeah, you're able to catch him and cushion him before he really hits the floor too hard. Maybe I need another hour sleep and I'll be fine.
So, Helwe would be outside with the donkey and the cart, and he'd be making some sort of like triage tent, I guess, for the cart because he knows that we're transporting Daggerface, Arseface, whatever you want to call it.
One of those, definitely one of those.
One of those, yeah.
Okay, give me an intelligence check to see how well you do building this makeshift tent.
Okay.
You managed to get a tent up that seems to be relatively sturdy. It looks as if, it's not going to collapse in on who's ever inside. The braces look like they will maintain their position.
Yeah, and I just wait outside.
Yeah. I'll probably, to help him out, I would probably do, let's see here. I was thinking enhance ability on him. I'm not sure if Bear's endurance or Bull's strength would be better for him.
His problem right now seems to be that he's just dizzy. So either Constitution or Dexterity would probably help him out. He doesn't seem to be very coordinated.
Okay. Okay. I'll give him the Bear's endurance then. So he would get 2d6 temp hit points as well for the duration. It's only about an hour, but it's really just to get him out to the fucking cart.
Okay. So he says, I recommend we should go to the palace. Seamus Holbein had equipment that he left there. I will need clothes and armor and some sort of weapon.
And how do you propose we're going to get it?
Well, they still know me as Seamus Holbein. So they should allow me access to his thing.
I thought he
Look,
was dead, though.
I am traveling with the heroes of Alkai Tor. No doubt they will welcome us in.
Or we'll just shoot our way in, whichever works.
I would suggest that perhaps we are not branded as the heroes of Alkai Tor, given that the entire village died. That doesn't paint a great picture for our heroes. Maybe
I do not understand all of the jokes you make, but I'm sure you also saved the town from a demon. I hear someone somewhere will recognize your greatness.
perhaps saviors of Watchtower.
That would be an apt description of you all.
I think we are wasting our time on semantics, and perhaps we should just take our leave and be on our way.
Very well. I'm ready.
Still gonna stand nearby.
Stands up on 2 feet and this time walks pretty well. He's not nearly as unsteady as he was that first time.
This will only last a short time. You must stay on the cart once we get moving.
I am sure I will be fine. Now that I've had a quick cat nap, I'll have to be at my best when I hear Gruzza.
Yes, well, let's take one thing at a time, shall we? First, we need to find her. And even before that, we need to get your belongings. And whatever other equipment we might need along the way.
I'd probably also take whatever I could from the medical stash, I guess. Since I'll need it to make his stuff.
Yeah, you can take those supplies. You can also get what amounts to healer's kits if you need those.
Would that give me what I need to make the stuff that he would need?
Yeah, we'll say it's the same stuff.
I'll get some healer kits then, I guess.
So you put him on the cart and make your way north again. As the day before, as Kajika saw, the streets are more or less absent of anybody who doesn't absolutely need to be out. Maybe occasionally here and there you see a person that's running some chore that couldn't wait. But there is an increased presence in the number of the Marquess's guard that are just out patrolling the streets. None of them really are paying attention to you directly or to the odd straggler here and there. It doesn't seem as though they know exactly what they're on guard for, although many of them do look pretty nervous. And as you get up to the palace, you see that the number of soldiers on the street increases dramatically. There doesn't, unlike before, there's nobody standing on that on the stairway leading into the building, but the entire stairway is flanked with 2 rows of guards.
Seems a bit much. I'm sure a demon could tear through these guards like butter if it really wanted to.
Well, let's hope it doesn't come to that. Hopefully it was only Kolrazog.
Otherwise, it's a bright and sunny day. It's probably normal temperature for this part of the country in that it's mid-40s. So if it weren't for the fact that a demon just attacked, this is actually one of the. It is a delightful day weather-wise. Seamus Holbein hops off the back of the cart, still barefoot because he wasn't wearing shoes when he left, and he's still in the white gown he was given. Otherwise, occasionally, like a little breeze comes by and blows the back of the gown open, and you can see he's basically just naked under that thing.
You got to admit, guys, he has style.
And he goes walking up to one of the guards and says, I need to get in there and get my things. But the guard doesn't seem to, like, the guard is first of all taken aback just at the sight of him with scarring on his face. Doesn't break formation or anything like that, isn't frightened, but definitely is a bit disgusted at his appearance and clearly has no idea who he is. And Daggerface is not saying who he is either.
Zarius will just look over to Lucerosi and T-Hole.
I'm sorry. What just happened?
Seamus Holbein went up to the guard and said he had to go in and get his things, but the guard doesn't know who he is, didn't recognize him, and is sort of vaguely disgusted. You also get the sense that he is going out of his way to not say that he is Seamus Holbein. Okay. So he's not giving the guard anything to work with.
So Lucerosi will, I mean, he's appears very tired, and he kind of just pinches the bridge of his wide lion nose, and then he'll go up to the guard and say, pardon me, good soldier, but we are seeking the belongings for Seamus Holbein. If you could possibly point us in the direction that we might find those.
As you walk up to them, you notice that just even as you're climbing down, and maybe even as you were approaching the guards, a few of them were sort of whispering back and forth to one another. But as you actually walk up to them, the whispering intensifies amongst all of them. And the one you're addressing, the one who Holbein was addressing, says, well, we certainly know who you are. You need Master Holbein's belongings.
Yes.
I know what I'm supposed to say, but I can't say I have a problem with it. Hold on just a second, I suppose. I don't even know really who to ask, so I guess I can just show you to where they moved his things after he disappeared.
That would be greatly appreciated if you could lead the way.
I'm taking them inside. Watch their cart. So this one guard leads you inside, past all the guards who are still sort of whispering amongst themselves as they watch you. He takes you inside. Initially, you're in the sort of big main entrance hall where people are met by officials. But he leads you back through what appear to be just sort of administrative offices and then down a couple of galleries into what appears to be living quarters. Not the Marquess's living quarters, but for other dignitaries. And leads you around to what is, for this place, probably a relatively modest room. It's about 20 by 20. Holbein was staying in this room, and so far as I know, people just left his things in there, although I think there was some effort to go through and see what was in there in case there was anything important.
Well,
but he opens the door for you.
Your help is most appreciated. Thank you. And then he'll kind of look to Daggerface and say, well, gather your things.
Name is Holbein's thing.
Yes.
So he goes in. There's a suit of armor has been stacked up near a bed. And he begins to slowly put that on. It's plate armor, so it takes a while for him to get all of the pieces on.
So noticing that he's putting on plate armor and, having familiarity myself with that armor as well as his health, Lucirosi would try to assist him with that.
I mean, that speeds up the process. You get the sense that he is probably close to as strong as Hellweir. So he is very strong, and dwarves probably can carry as much as Goliath despite their height disadvantage. So the weight is no problem for him whatsoever. In fact, if anything, it almost stabilizes him from the swaying he's been doing. So he's swaying a little bit less because of the weight of the armor on top of him. And that might even help him keep his balance. He also goes and pulls down a relatively sort of workaday axe. It's been chipped and dented. It looks like maybe it was used as like a practice weapon or a sparring weapon, and probably has been clashed directly against many other blades in its time. But it's other than it's being battered, it's more or less unremarkable. And he pulls out a pack and begins to throw things in it from a trunk. Most of which doesn't appear to be adventuring gear so much as things like spare clothes. There is some adventuring gear in there. There's a lamp or a lantern and some oil and things like that. A tinderbox. And takes him probably about 20 minutes all told to put on the armor and gather all these things. But he finishes up and says, "I'm good. I don't have any water or food, but apart from that, I have what I need."
All right. I believe Hellweir grabbed some food from this morning's breakfast, but just in case.
Hellweir
sorry.
grabbed Hellweir's food.
Oh. Well, he would address the soldier and ask, is there a place where we might get water skins and dry rations for travel?
Absolutely there is. Just come with me. I'll take you to the kitchen.
Oh, that would be excellent.
Leads you around out of the residential section of this building and into a large kitchen. There are a number of workers there who are preparing food. You're not exactly sure for whom or what meal they're preparing for at this point, but a lot of the meats are slow roasting, particularly the pork. So they may just be in here all the time. It is amazingly, unbelievably hot in here because they have several ovens working at once in this otherwise heat box that just traps everything inside. So it's probably like 120 degrees in here that these people just have to work in.
Ugh.
And the guard says, "These are the people who defeated the demon. They need provisions for... how long are you traveling? How much food do you need?"
We are heading to Alkai Tor, and then after that, Montfair.
Oh, that'll take you several weeks. I don't know that they'll have food that will keep for several weeks, but we can give you... They'll need provisions for at least 6 people for, let's say, a week.
That would be
and he's
excellent.
Looking at you. And the people initially a bit shocked at Daggerface because he didn't have his helmet on when he came into the room. Mm-hmm. They, nonetheless, hearing that you're the ones who defeated the demon, they all sort of snap to and begin pulling out sacks and filling it with food and vegetables and some of the meats that have already been cooked. A lot of salted pork because they figure that will keep longer than the other stuff. And they come out with... someone leaves and comes back with a bunch of empty water skins. And one guy comes up and whispers something to the guard. The guard turns to you and says, "They probably can only give you about 2 days worth of water because we just don't have water skins on hand for 6 people for a week."
That is fine. How much will this cost?
Oh, there's no charge. If it weren't for you, we'd all probably be subjects of that demon. You saved our souls as well as our lives.
Well, your kindness is most appreciated.
So you walk out with 20 full water skins, or 12 full water skins. So 60 pounds of water and 2 weeks worth of food.
Good thing we got a cart. All right.
So it takes a while for all this to happen, but after about 45 minutes, they come back out. It's now probably mid-morning by the time you get everything loaded up on the cart.
So, Zarius looks a little confused. What is this? This will only slow us down. I can create food and water for us.
Yes, but wouldn't it be easier to not have to use our resources in that way should we need them for other things?
So be it.
Do not worry. We have a pack mule. Its name's Sally.
Solid.
Sally. Sally the pack mule.
Ah.
That
I asked
sounds,
her.
That sounds like a human name.
That's what she said.
Yeah, now that you're seeing it, like it takes a while to get it all out and onto the cart. Seeing it all piled up in one place, it's hard to not sort of wonder if maybe Zarius has a point, as that's 228 pounds worth of stuff. Water and food. So, the donkey can pull it perfectly easily on the cart. It's not a big problem. Daggerface, being a dwarf, could probably carry it all and not even be encumbered, as long as he can keep his feet.
So, noticing that, Lucirosi will look to Zarius and T-Hole and say, well, I can't, in my right mind, ask these people to take back their generous offering.
It's only 2 days worth of water. The weight should go away pretty quick. As we drink it. But I agree. It would be a slap in the face.
You also notice when you come back out, there are actually substantially more guards than when you went in. Although all the additional guards, like the order of their line around the stairs has sort of broken down a bit. They're no longer really in lines as much as just a gang of people.
Yeah, Lucirosi is not quite unused to this kind of attention. Just it's not always been positive attention like this. Like certainly curious wonder when he walks around with his hood down.
Hello, my subjects. Thank you for gathering.
And they seem genuinely delighted that you're addressing the crowd.
We appreciate your love and support. It means a lot to us.
3 cheers for the Demon Slayers! And they all start cheering.
Are these the townsfolk?
No, these are probably the majority of these people. Some of them are just like servants and staff. A lot of them are the Marquess's guards.
Okay.
So after they cheer, Lucirosi will say, "Thank you all. May the light of Ashros light all of your paths."
And they all cheer at that too. You see, like occasionally people are like reaching out just to like touch your armor. And they continue to cheer as you all begin to ride off on the cart. For a little while, they're sort of following behind, although the guards that were actually on duty there are staying by the door.
I was
And you
worried.
make your
I
way.
thought they were going to take my head for a second there. Anyways, yeah, we keep moving on. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you make your way out of the town and start headed north again. It's still about, it's the same 10 miles basically before you even get to the lake. So it takes a while for you to get that far up there. But after about 5 hours of travel, middle of the afternoon, you could see the lake and you could see Alkai Tor, where the buildings at least still stand. And Seamus Holdbine says, "We need to go into the Fortune Hills. That's where my contacts will."
Where is
That
the
is
hills?
the Fortune Hills is further north from Alkai Tor itself.
You're breaking up.
Hold on. So the Fortune Hills were over here. I don't know if you saw that. So you didn't actually go. You didn't go into the Fortune Hills before. Although Zarius, when Zarius was trying to find you, he originally segued into the Fortune Hills a bit.
Well,
Yeah, I do remember something about people being in the Fortune Hills back when we were going through, that we learned that they were in there.
wasn't there
Right,
also
yeah.
like some kind of church or something?
I don't remember there being a church in there.
Well, maybe not there, but while we were in the swamp, there was a couple of different ways that we could have gone to.
Yeah, that's certainly there are paths that go through the Fortune Hills as well. You took a path that went directly through the southern part of the swamp. So trying to find the little icon that shows where you are, but it's gone. Oh well. Oh, there it is.
Icons in Bugtown. Yeah, there it is. Yep.
So you proceed to make your way north. It's a couple extra miles to get into the Fortune Hills, but there is a branch of the path that sort of leads off from the road that went up into Bogtown, and also branched off into the swamp itself. And you eventually come to, at first you come to a series of hills where there are a tree line above you, and everybody make a perception check. T-Hole at least sees that there is some movement in that tree line. It's pretty well camouflaged, and it seems as if they've built a blind up there. But seeing your group approach, you see somebody come crawling out of the blind, and they come down this hill up to your group. It seems to be a hobgoblin, and he's dressed all in dark-colored leathers with a wide-brimmed dark hat with a black feather coming out of it. And he's simply standing at the base of a hill, resting a rifle across his arms.
Lucirosi will turn to Holbein and ask, "Is that one of the mercenaries that you hired?"
Yes, I believe so. They were a hobgoblin group of trackers. I don't recall their faces so well myself, but this does sound like the leader of that group.
And how should we approach or address him so that they'll know that we are of Samus Holbein's company?
I will need to talk to him myself. I will trick him. I will try to make him believe that I am Samus Holbein. Then he should be more willing to cooperate. I will need you to back me up on my deception.
I have some currency as well. This should help. And I pull out my pouch of Elfies.
Oh, your pouch of Elvirs is gone.
Oh, no, they took it away, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yes, they did.
It's a sad day.
Thank Astros.
You just have to rebuild it.
I have to get rid of my Elfie pouch.
So Lucia Rossi and Holbein asking him to back him up on his deception kind of smirks and he says, for once, I don't think that should be a problem for me.
Does this hobgoblin look familiar? I mean, like his dress or anything?
You would know, like, he doesn't. You could tell immediately that he is not a Grammaton monk, but you would know that this particular style of dress is traditional among retired army commandos. So if you were within the borders of the theocracy, it would actually be illegal to wear this style of dress unless he was himself at one point a commando. So it doesn't necessarily mean that he was, because outside the borders, people sometimes put on airs.
Like stolen valor type thing?
Right. But Daggerface goes up to him and says, "Hail! I am Samus Holbein, the dwarf who hired you. That's me, so you should do what I say." He said, "Back me up. What are you doing? Back me up."
Lucia Rossi is at a loss and looks down at Daggerface and is like, "What would you expect me to do? You've announced yourself."
Yeah, he actually said, "Back me up." I said to back me up aloud, so the hobgoblin could hear that part too. The hobgoblin is just sort of cocks his head a bit and is looking at both of you, and like holds his thumb up to try to like block out the ugly half of his face. I don't know what the hell happened to you, but I guess I'm glad you're here, because we're packing the fuck up to get out of this place before the snows come. Haven't had contact with you for a goddamn week. So, I guessing you want to know where that Gruzza dwarf went, right? Seamus Holbein says, "Yes, exactly. We need you to track Gruzza." Well, your money is done near run out, so we're not staying here a moment longer than we need to. But good news for you, because we completely lost track of that fucking dwarf in the swamps. There's no way to just find your way around there and track somebody through the goddamn water. But the idiot came out of the swamps and went, and apparently, I guess she's the new queen of Alkai Tor, because she moved into the old miller's place and seems to be about the only person who's living there now. I mean, apart from the rats.
That will not stand. We have to go to Alkai Tor.
Yes, I agree, but so she's just there by herself?
Our scouts ain't seen another person except for her, so if she's not there alone, it's because somebody else went into the old miller's place before our scouts followed her there.
Just on a hunch, because we've seen some strange things around Alkai Tor in the last few weeks in those swamps. Have you or your men seen any strange lights or sightings or heard unusual sounds coming from the millers?
I ain't seen, I mean, lights, sure, but nothing unusual. Firelights, things like that. She gets cold, a little bit cold there, so I'm sure she's lighting fires. There's always odd lights and moans coming from that island offshore of the lake.
But nothing closer to where she is boarded up.
She seems to have gotten the old mill wheel turning again. I don't know if she's milling stuff or what, but maybe she's making a go of it there. Maybe she's waiting for somebody, but ain't nobody come up here yet.
So this might be fortuitous. If she's alone, this would be a perfect time for us to confront her.
I figure that's about right. You should know, Holbein, I'm 100% certain we have a confirmation that she's got your family's axe. So it's in there with her, because she's been using it to chop wood. She chopped a tree down in front of the place recently. We're assuming it was for firewood. It's the only sizable tree in the area, so probably just a target of opportunity for her. But she broke that up into logs and dragged them inside, probably using it to burn those fires we saw. Probably only a matter of time before other people come and try to claim those buildings, unless they all go to ruin. But some of the buildings seem nice enough. I can imagine squatters coming in thinking they found themselves a free town.
Yes. So, Lustrosi will address the rest of the group and say, so we should probably go and move quickly so that we can not only secure Alkai Tor for legitimate residents to return, but also to deal with this as quickly as possible.
Yes. Not have a queen trying to usurp my authority of Alkai Tor.
It sounded like there was a wedding in order.
Not one that I've known about.
Kajika, a wedding?
Well, His Excellency and the Queen there.
Oh, I get it. And he just deadpan is like, okay.
Let us move.
Hey, Daggerface, what did you hire these hobgoblins to do?
They were hired to follow. First, they had to track the murderer of Seamus Holbein's sister.
Yeah. Well, they were just supposed to watch her.
I have to be the one to kill her.
Oh.
Well, Seamus Holbein had to be the one to kill her.
But he's dead now.
But as he is dead, it will have to be me.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, the hobgoblin speaks up. You girls are done planning whatever wedding you're talking about. We're done here, so me and my men are setting out, going back north. Holbein, if you need us again, you can contact a representative. Otherwise, this has been the most boring goddamn hunt I've ever been on. Good luck to you. May your screams please Satan Mamadati. And he puts the rifle up on one shoulder and turns and starts to walk around the hill that he just climbed down.
All right. So
Can I do an insight to see if he is who he says he is, if he's a legit commando or just somebody who's just wearing a uniform?
You can make the check, sure.
I would actually be curious if he's perhaps been paid to do the opposite now, track us or something.
I got
You
11.
make it.
Ah, fuck me.
As,
damn.
as near as you can tell, yeah, he is just a mercenary who was tracking the dwarf and is eager to leave.
All right.
I mean, if he was paid to follow you, you would probably guess that there was no reason for him to be here at this particular location where Samus Holbein's mercenaries were. So it's wouldn't necessarily know who would be paying him. Maybe somebody would pay him to follow Holbein if they found them. Paid them to turn double agent.
Yeah, I figured maybe Gruzza paid them. Possibly. I don't know. I don't think that, obviously. My shit fucking roll.
So he disappears around the hill. I assume you double back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, back
Yep.
to Alkai Tor.
So going south again, it being the start of winter, it is basically just about nighttime, a little after sunset when you arrive back in Alkai Tor. Daggerface knows where the mill is, so you would have seen it as well, but he can lead you directly there. He says it's Siobhan Drummond's house. He seems to know the woman who ran the mill reasonably well. He describes it as sort of north east of Plumflavoon's dairy and north of the brewery that you had gone to. So he is able to guide you off the road directly to where the mill is. You do see the wheel is spinning in the water. Give me perception checks, though.
Oh man.
So Zarius and Lucirosi, you can see, although there's no smoke coming out of the chimney at the moment, as you get closer to the place, there is movement in the windows. There's no glass in the windows, but one of the windows is the shutters are open, and you see there is some quick movement behind it. It's a one-story house, but it's fairly well built. Off to the side, you see there are several gravestones, many of which look like they've been there a very long time, like possibly more than a century's worth of people. Siobhan Drummond, you would remember you had met, and she was one of the humans who lived here. So this might be a few generations of her ancestors that just were buried outside the house. You also do see in front of the house near the river, there's the stump of what was once a fairly thick tree that looks like it's been recently chopped down.
All right. So I would let everybody know, hey, wait a minute. There's some movement in there. Gruzza may be inside.
Well, then we should get her out. Gruzza! Gruzza! Come face justice, monster!
Well, Luciorosi's going to turn to the others and say, well, I was hoping that we could scout a bit before doing this, but it seems Daggerface has other ideas in mind.
Perhaps you should not have told him.
Well, I wasn't telling him so much as us, but
So I'm gonna cast Sanctuary on myself and walk forward towards the front door.
Okay. As you're walking forward, the front door opens, and Gruzza steps out. She is, unlike her appearance last time, she is now wearing armor, and she's carrying a very ornate, ore-marked axe, great axe.
Back, Gruzza.
So you are here.
I am here. Why are you accompanying Holbein? What matters there are between me and him? Okay, I attacked you in the temple, but you won. Are you holding a grudge?
You have also been accused of murdering Holbein's sister.
You can't prove that.
That is not the speech of somebody that is innocent.
Is if the accusation is false.
Lucia Rossi's just taking a moment to see how Daggerface is reacting to that.
Daggerface says he's gone a little quiet, but his breathing is getting deeper and heavier. He seems to just be getting angry at seeing her again.
Mm-hmm.
Gruzza, why would you willingly aid a mind flayer? The most despicable, vile of creatures that ever walk this plane.
Oh, I forgot. Humans are so dumb. Because mind flayers are powerful, and they kill a lot of. And there is a lot to be gained in having that kind of power on your side.
So what did you get out of it?
Unfortunately, nothing, because you interrupted his, whatever you want to call it, the ultimate plan.
Which was?
Well, as you probably are aware, he had a little bit of a problem with Elle. And while I'm sure he would have eventually gotten over it, he would have cleared out Alkai Tor, and I could have gotten the damned artifact. But now, I don't know where that is. So, my masters probably will kill me anyway. That's why I prefer to die in honorable combat with my good friend, former paramour, Samus Holbein. Daggerface! And he goes charging forward. Roll for initiative.
Oh, hang on, I gotta click on my character.
Yeah. Oh, thanks for reminding me. Let's see if this is going to be one of the rare times that I actually
I'll take that.
roll well. All right, so wait, where is... I can't find my character. Where?
What am I saying? Dumplings. Okay, T-Hole, you get to go first. Daggerface has begun to rush forward, so we'll say just there, barely ahead of Zarius.
I'm going to cast... I'm going to cast True Strike on Hellweird.
Okay.
Oh wait, no, I get advantage on my first attack. So I'll just do True Strike on myself, I suppose.
It's for yourself.
Yeah.
It's a dumb cantrip.
Hellware.
Yeah, I would yell out to Gruzza and be like, "Is the artifact the boar?"
She does not respond to that.
Okay, well, I just wait. This isn't my business. This is between Daggerface and her. So I just stand there.
Are you gonna hold your action?
Yeah, but I'm holding my action to do nothing. So
Okay. What's your dexterity? Oh, you've got to beat. Got to beat. I meant Lucia Rossi.
Oh, not great. It's 8.
Okay, so you're tied with Daggerface, but I'm going to make an executive decision because he wants it more and say Daggerface gets to go first.
It's fair.
He only manages to hit her the one time, but manages to get her reasonably good in her chain shirt. So he comes running forward. His axe is raised over his head. The wobble seems to be gone from his step as he screams out, bringing the axe down on her, missing, then slices across her chest, yelling, "Daggerface!" Now it's Lucia Rosa's turn.
All right. Lucia Rossi is also much like how we are a little uncomfortable doing this because it seems like this is really Holbein's business, but with Gruzza's relationship with the Mind Flayer, he goes anyways and is gonna move forward. Let's see, where's that measuring thing? There it is. All right, so I'll probably get it right about here with my movement. And then I'll use dash action to get right there.
What sort of armor do you have?
I have heavy armor. Splint.
Okay. He went. So Kajika's turn. Or Zarius, or one of you.
Kajika's probably faster.
You can go ahead. I'm still trying to figure out what I'm going to do.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't exactly sure how this was going to work out. So I guess what I'll do. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3. Let's see what's the distance here. Because what's my. I think it's like 30 feet or something like that. Either 30 or 60 feet. So if I go. Yeah, that's. I can go one space. And then.
Technically, you're in a bush.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. little hard to see, but.
I didn't. Okay. Then I can go 5, 10, 20. Yeah. And then I'll do I'll attempt my acid breath.
What's the saving throw for that?
It's Dex versus DC 13 there. Put it in the thing. Yeah. Alrighty. She avoids it. Because I don't think it's half damage. Oh, it is half damage. Okay. So it is half on a success.
So she tries to dodge under this stream of spit that comes at her, missing most of it, missing her, but she catches a little bit of it. The rest of it begins to sizzle and burn the grass on the other side of her. Kajika.
Okay, I'm going to move and take cover behind the tree stump.
Okay.
And just scan for any other threats other than Gruzza.
Give me a perception check.
Perception.
None that you can see.
Okay.
Gruzza seems to consider which target to go for between Daggerface and Lucirosi. But Lucirosi, although less heavily armored, hasn't hit her yet, and doesn't have the rage in his eyes the way Daggerface does. So she begins to wield the very heavy great axe around with a much higher degree of skill than you were expecting from her, and takes 3 swings at Daggerface.
Aw.
One of which misses badly. So she only hit the first time, luckily enough for him. But she does take a mighty slash, and he loses 12 hit points. Teal's turn.
T-Hole's gonna move about here or so, and about face.
That's a heck of a move.
Is that too far?
That's
That's
2
almost
moves.
60 feet. Yeah.
I didn't realize that was this big. Oh well, let me get the ruler out. Yeah, so about here then. And then I'm gonna cast Fear on Gruzza.
Is that a wisdom save?
Yes.
You see 11. That doesn't sound right.
That's a cone attack.
So what? He already said it.
Oh yeah, I guess that would catch all you guys.
Yep, sure would.
So what is your actual DC? Because I'm sure it's not 11.
15.
So, Samus or Daggerface will get a +3 bonus on his saving throw.
I guess so would I, yeah. I still made it, but
Are you within 10 feet of me?
Yeah.
Okay, so then, yeah, and then I feel like
Daggerface does not make it.
doesn't
but neither does Gruzza.
aren't paladins immune to fear? Maybe I'm misremembering that.
They're immune to disease.
Okay.
And at a
So
certain
then-
level, I forget which oath, but one of the oaths has immunity to fear as like a 7th level or higher level feature.
Oh yeah, that's definitely not mine. So, but
I think devotion or something like that.
holy shit, are you kidding me? All right, I'm gonna use an action point on that because I'm
He's spooked.
Jesus, Teal.
Guys, we should stop fighting this petty fight.
Everyone turns around and their biggest fear is T-Hole naked.
I think Kajika, that also just catches you.
It's a cone.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, you're right.
yeah,
Not, it's not. So, my bad.
So it's we're back to Hellweir's turn.
So Gruzza and Daggerface are running away from everybody.
Not that you've seen just yet, but they both look panicked.
Alright, I'm gonna. I think I'll just wait. I'm just gonna. Hellweir wouldn't do anything.
Howard's getting the popcorn out.
Yeah. This is their fight. Let them have it. Like. Yep. So I hold action again next.
Lucia Rosie's turn.
Doesn't Daggerface go before?
Oh, that's true. He did last time. So starts by taking the dash action, runs through your square. Dropped one. And is running for the river. And then he takes his move action, runs into the river, looking occasionally over his shoulder back at T-Hole and screaming.
So is he going in the river or just running alongside the river?
He is running in in the bank, but he's actually running through the water at this point. He's not like swimming or submerged.
Okay.
So now it's Lucia Rosie's turn.
All right. So Lucia Rosie's going to turn and give T-Hole a dirty look. But then he's going to use his action to use his awesome presence ability. And so he kind of erupts in a dazzling glow, very much reminiscent of the vampires from that terrible, terrible movie when they're out in sunlight.
I don't know, man. What movie are we talking about?
I don't remember what they're called. Twilight? Yeah.
There we go.
What's the DC on this?
Why is that not included in there? DC 14.
He is more frightened than awed.
So can I use an action point to make you re-roll that?
I don't usually let action points be used to make or force a reroll.
Okay, that's fine. All right, that's my turn then.
Kajika or Zarius, either one.
The random red lines I drew are my fault. I have no idea how to delete them if you want to. Sorry about that.
Some sort of tactical kind of map drawing.
Yeah.
I thought you were like setting out some traps in case he tried to run or something.
Yeah, I wish I was that cool. Is there anything going on from inside the mill?
You haven't seen anything.
Okay. I'm just scanning, ready my action in case there are other participants.
Okay. Darius.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and just... where are we at? Do I have it put here? I don't. All right, whatever. I'm going to cast Hold Person on her.
Good call. Because otherwise she's getting away.
Fails.
Nice. She's now paralyzed. And I don't know if I have much else for bonus actions, so yeah, that's it. That's my turn.
Okay. Does she get to save now? When does she get this on hold person?
At the end of each of its turns.
She can't do anything, so that's functionally now. Nope. T-hole.
T-hole is going to. Let's see. We are. Is the door open?
No, she closed it behind her.
I'm gonna walk forward and see if I can open up the door.
So you walk up. It's not locked, so yeah, you can open it.
And I'm gonna take a step inside and leave the door open. Just to kind of check out the interior and see what's in there.
Stepping inside, it opens up into there's probably not more than 2 or 3 rooms in this house. To the one side, you can see to the side that's away from the river. It's essentially a large living space. It's clearly got to be the majority of the house in this room. There's a fireplace on this side, and there's the bed is in this part. It's all pretty much in disarray, partly probably because Siobhan Drummond, when she fled Alkai Tor, probably just took whatever she was going to need and kind of left things in a state of disorder. A lot of it is clearly just Gruzza set up shop here and doesn't really give a shit about the state of the place. So she's just been haphazardly tossing things like bones into the fireplace, and just her clothes are scattered around.
Oh, seems safe. I don't see. Does it look like there's anybody else living here?
You don't see anyone else.
All right.
I mean, you can make an investigation check.
I'll do that.
You would, from what you see here, you imagine it's really just her and then whatever Siobhan Drummond left behind.
Okay. Can I give her a good thump with my quarterstaff?
Sure.
So he's gonna turn around and just kind of hit her in the back of the head.
FYI, you have advantage on that, and is considered a critical strike.
Well, his advantage, and it was a crit anyway.
Paralyzed is a hell of a thing. Take a lot of fucking damage.
In this case, 7. Or, sorry, 8. You bonk her on the head. She remains motionless. But the fear that you can't see because you're hitting her from behind is frozen on her face. Hellware.
I'm gonna give some food to our donkey and make some small talk. I was gonna have small talk with the donkey. Gonna talk about the weather and stuff.
The donkey's name was Susie, I believe.
Sally.
So you pull some food off. It probably will take you more than a round to do both things, but you pull the food out the back and begin to walk around to the front. She'll begin to eat it at the beginning of next round. I should put her in the initiative tracker.
Sweet. Yep, that's me.
So Daggerface is just going to continue to run. He ducks under the water wheel, splashing a bit deeper into the water. So let me see if he falls in or not.
Drop
They
your
get a
fear.
DC 10. Oh, you hear a splash.
Where the water's running.
Well, wait a minute, because he ended his turn in a location with his previous turn. He ended it in a location where he no longer had line of sight of T-hole, so he would have gotten a wisdom save to try and break the fear.
Well, he'll get that wisdom save now, but I forgot it last time.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he is no longer afraid, but he's being beaten on the head with the paddles of a water wheel as he's being pushed under. Because he fell into the water right underneath the paddle wheel.
He's gonna be freaking paddle face.
And it's Luciorosi's turn.
All right, so Luciorosi is going to yell to Kajika and say, "Can you go check on Holbein?" And meanwhile, he's going to grab the axe from what's her name, Gruzza. And then if I have any more action left, because I don't know if there's going to be an object interaction since she's paralyzed or what. But then I'd like to just knock her to the ground.
So yeah, you can snatch the axe away, but that you do have to like wrestle it from her paralyzed hand. So that is an object interaction.
Well, do you get an object interaction in addition to an action?
It is essentially you have to make an athletics check. She just fails it because she's paralyzed.
Okay.
So that's an action.
Okay, that's fine. So I grab the axe from her then.
Kajika.
Yeah, I mean, I hear what Luciorosi says, and I'm gonna. I guess I'd have to use a double movement and see how close I get to him, which I'm not sure how far that is.
Well, as a monk, you also have Step of the Wind. You can use a Kai point to do another dash as a bonus action.
Okay. Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, it's just under 90 between you and him. Or, excuse me, just under 120.
Okay.
So it actually will take you more than one round, even with Step of the Wind.
Okay. So where does that get me? Like the edge here?
Step of the Wind, yeah, essentially gets you about to here, about to the corner.
Okay. I will do that.
Zarius.
I think you're muted, dude.
Yep, sure am. Is T-hole still standing there?
Yes.
All right.
Well, actually, T-hole moved in. Oops. T-hole moved in, so T-hole's technically about 8.
Kind of like here, but inside.
Well, you had to move. You had to be here to hit her with the staff.
Yeah, so I'm like in the doorway.
I'll step forward here. As I step forward, I whisper to the staff, and the head of the snake becomes animate, and then I have it strike out at her. Where am I at here? Staff. So I guess that's technically 2 piercing. Because it's a critical hit.
Well, it's a Constitution save.
Con save for the poison of the snake.
Okay.
So it's
she
like
failed that.
a point from the bite, and then most of the damage comes from the poison. So, so yeah.
So it's 7. It's 7 from the bite because it's an automatic crit.
Okay. Oh, it's a D6. Got it. I just rolled shit.
So you can see she still can't move, but there is tears are forming in her eye as the poison begins to wend its way through. She's also a dwarf, so she's resistant to poison, but it still bites into her pretty hard.
All right.
So Lucirosi at this point is gonna say to Zarius, I know Holbein wants her dead, but let's try to refrain from killing her. She will serve her justice.
If she goes down, I will simply bring her back.
Very well.
But does she still seem like she's, trying to put up a fight? I know she's she's paralyzed still, but
Paralyzed, feed, and be bitten by
Yeah, I
snakes.
mean, all you can
Her
you
weapon
can see-
taken from her.
all you can see is that she has a look of fear frozen onto her face, and she now has a tear streaming down her cheek that she got after you hit her with the staff.
all right.
But otherwise, you can't really tell.
All that's
You
left is to
imagine
strip her of her
that-
armor.
You imagine that if she breaks the whole person, she will run away from T-Hole.
All right.
But it's T-Hole's turn.
Best to bring her down. Just try not to kill her.
I'm gonna just attempt another quarterstaff in the back of the head. Just gonna keep trying to knock her out.
I don't know why, but I'm imagining Rafiki hitting people with his staff on the back of the head.
It's like it's in the past. It was last turn,
So you hit her in the head again.
and she takes 6 damage
8,
or 8. Yeah.
6 plus 2. Hellware's turn. You're going to feed the donkey.
Yeah, I am.
So you're having a conversation with the donkey. There are a fair number of vegetables, so you managed to take out like a bunch of carrots out of a sack. And the donkey is happily munching on them and flicking its tail back and forth. The night is clear and it's reasonably warm. So even though it's nighttime in winter, this whole valley is still relatively warm. So there's a pleasant breeze. It's probably in the high 50s, 50 degrees Fahrenheit. So probably like 15 degrees Celsius or something.
Oh, that's
Yeah, and you and the donkey are having a lovely time under the starlight. Meanwhile, behind you, there's a fight.
All right, next.
The donkey's like,
Lucirosi.
do they need help over there? Nah, they're fine.
Donkey
is like, quick, let me eat these carrots before the other people find out we have carrots.
So now that I have Gruzza's weapon and she's clearly frozen, and Zarius and T-Hole seem like they have it, he's going to try to assist Kajika. So move action to get right about where Kajika is. And then dash action.
And you get there, and that's when you realize, although you can see the token on the map, you don't know where he is, because he is technically underwater under the wheel. Kajika was in a position where he could actually see him when he went under the wheel. So Kajika sort of knows roughly where he is.
So I'm gonna shout to Kajika. Where's Samus?
Apparently, he's under the water.
Under the.
Yeah, and give me an investigation check. Lusharosi.
Okay.
So hearing that, that's when you notice that the wheel is like turning in chunks where there'll be one big turn and then it'll stop and there'll be like a little thud and then another turn and it'll be a thud and it stops and another turn and it'll be a thud and it stops.
All right. So then I'm gonna use my action to dash. I can get right about here. So is it here? I think it was there. All right, and then that's my turn.
Daggerface, he is going to try to break out of this. But he's pretty doggone, so it's a high. You see a hand come up covered in mud onto the bank from under the water wheel as he pulls himself up and then gets to his feet, taking half his motion, and runs. Screaming. But he only gets to about there. I'll make a save. Nope, still running. Still screaming. He's clearly lost a few hit points, though, being smacked around by the water wheel. There's blood trickling down the other side of his face. Kajika.
How do you use the little arrow? Shows you how far you can go.
There's a little circular wheel on the row of icons on the left-hand side. One of them which says snap to center, snap to corner, no snapping. Click on any one of those, basically. No snapping is usually what I tend to use. And then just click on your token or wherever you want and drag the cursor around.
Yeah. You can make it. You can hide it from others too.
I am not finding that, but that's okay.
It's there should be.
Okay. Now I see snap to center.
Yep.
Oh wow, look at that. Okay. All right. So
you can reach him in 2 movements, or you could like move and bonus action step of the wind and spend a Kai point and reach him with an action.
So I can go what 40 or 30, right?
I think your movement's still 30.
Yeah. So
You haven't
no,
got bonus movement from Monk yet, I don't think.
no. Okay. So yeah, I'm just gonna move, get to here, keep him in sight.
As you try to navigate around the wheel itself, because there's the wheel widens at this point.
Oh, okay.
Make me an athletics or acrobatics check. DC 15.
Definitely acrobatics.
So you are able to. It's trickier than you thought at first approaching it because you either can duck under it or go over it, but either way, the wheel itself is pretty slick. But you manage to avoid falling into the water and into the actual paddles of the paddle wheel itself and make it past it. You can continue your movement.
Okay. And I just yell, "Hey, Daggerface, you dumb son of a bitch, get back here."
He seems incapable of responding coherently at this point. He seems to be fleeing some indescribable horror.
Yeah. Okay.
So Zarius.
All right. Just gonna assume everything's going fine over there. And then I'll just do the same thing. Staff. Huh. Even with advantage, it didn't roll very well.
Yeah, that does not hit her. Your snake attempts to bite, but happens to hit a point of her chain shirt where the links are especially dense. And so its teeth just stop and don't penetrate through the mesh.
All right. Yeah, I don't have much in the way of bonus actions that I'd like to do right now, so I'll just leave it at that.
Gruzza is going to try to break free of her paralysis at least. Nope. Some days it doesn't pay to be a murderer.
Yep.
Keyhole.
How about her fear? Oh, she doesn't get the fear yet. Yeah.
Right.
Teal's still right there.
He's still in. Technically, he's behind her, but it's within line of sight in the rules.
Yeah.
Yeah. I suppose I could just stop concentrating on the spell, and it would call off too.
But you have no reason to. She would greatly appreciate it though. give her a fighting chance.
So I'm gonna do another quarterstaff for good measure.
Oh, come on.
You hit her, but it doesn't really seem to phase her this time.
Well, isn't she on hold person?
Yeah, but it's still, that means you have advantage to hit.
Yeah, you still have to hit her. We just hit her armor.
Gotcha.
Without the inspiration of Lucerosi to guide you, these blows are ineffective. Nowhere.
I found a picture of Sally. Hang on, I'll put it in the chat. Here it is. Oh, did it work? It didn't work.
Got this page.
Oh no, not this again.
There.
Oh, it works. And that's my turn.
So, Hellweir is trying to psychically beam what he's seeing to you guys. Lucerosi.
All right. So it looks like I can just reach Samus. But I'm guessing I'm going to have to go through this thing here.
Yes, you would have to brave this water.
And especially going through Kajika.
He should have moved up. He had some more movement afterwards. So he really should have gotten right about up to her.
All right.
My bad.
So, athletics check.
Yep. You are able to jump over and slide over the top of it, landing on your feet.
Woo. And then...
But you can't end your movement in the same space as him.
Right.
And you can't really run left or right unless you go into the water. But the water is pretty deep and the current is swift.
Can I use my action to try to really athletically jump over them and land on the other side over here?
Sure. I'll say yes.
Oh, I am so excited to see how this goes wrong.
So you jump.
Yeah.
So now give me a dexterity save, DC 15.
Oh boy.
To avoid falling in the water.
Don't forget your charisma bonus.
Oh, it's already automatically added in there.
Okay.
Fuck
me, come on.
So now it's a question of, do I want to use my action point or do I want to see what happens? I want to see what happens.
So as you land on the other side, you're still on the banks of a river, so it's fairly muddy, and you wind up slipping and you fall into the water, and you immediately realize the current here is very strong, so it begins pushing you back in the direction it's flowing. So you move this way, and you're coming perilously close to being bonked by the paddle wheel.
Yeah. I'm sure my heavy armor is not going to help with my swim checks.
Right.
Awesome.
Basically, it's disadvantage on swim check when you're wearing heavy armor.
Yeah. I made the right choice.
The Shaun of the Dead thing was great.
Well, at least you now know that although Daggerface fell into the water, it's because it's actually kind of treacherous. It's not pure incompetence. Daggerface is going to go running. He is just glad that you fell into the water to get out of his way. So he is essentially running off the map at this point, but he's another 15 feet further than is shown here. And then he will make his save to see if he can end.
Yeah, it's that
He actually made it. So he finally stops and says, "Why? What was I afraid of? It was just T-hole. I've got to kill Gruzza!" And he turns and uses his action to run back, getting back to where Kajika is. Kajika's turn.
Okay, so now I don't have to tackle what's his name, but now I got to try to help Lucirosi get out of the water. Don't think I have a staff.
Right.
I don't know about that.
I like Lucirosi, but not that much.
Can I, just bend over and just reach my arm out and see if I can grab him?
You can certainly try that. So that would be an athletics check to try to catch him. If you, I know what the DC is. If you fail by more than 5, you will fall in as well.
Okay, the good old athletics, not acrobatics, right?
No, this is you're trying to haul him out. I mean, you can definitely reach out and touch him. It's a question of whether you can actually pull him out.
Okay.
And he's in heavy armor.
Okay. That'll be an action point right there.
Okay, you do not fall in, but with his heavy armor, you're unable to simply haul him out. You've stopped him from moving further downstream, though, so he won't go under the wheel.
Okay.
Darius.
What is taking them so long? I'll go ahead and cast spiritual weapon. I'll put it right here, I guess.
So you cast a spell, and it's
a spiritual weapon, so it's a melee spell attack, so it should benefit from the paralyzation. Plus, I rolled really fucking high, so it didn't roll both the damages, but
right. It's 20 total. It did. So there is a sizable amount of blood coming out of a wound that the spiritual weapon leaves behind.
And I'll hit her with a staff as an action.
That hits.
Gotta make that con save.
Nope.
Oof. Brutal. She's having a hard ass time. Alrighty.
You can see her veins she is sort of beginning to turn a little bit blue on her exposed flesh from the poison that's coursing through her now. But it's her turn. So she will see if she can finally end at least one of the effects that is on her. Nope. And still she cannot be brought down. T-Hole's turn.
Kill the queen.
All right. I'll just shoot a firebolt at her, I suppose. Point blank firebolt, I suppose, and would be. So does a 16 hit? It's 26. That's right.
Well, but it's disadvantage and advantage, which cancel out.
Oh, okay.
But yes, the 16 hit.
All right. So that's 9.
So she proceeds to some of her clothing catches on fire as the firebolt nails her. Although the flames do die out on their own. Hellware.
I found another picture of Sally.
We had better end this fight soon, or there will be a wedding. Lucharosi.
All right, so Kajika currently has me, but isn't able to pull me out.
Right, but because he has you, you won't be at disadvantage if you try to haul yourself out.
All right, so I'm gonna try that then. So athletics check. Ha.
Nope, you're still unable to pull yourself out. But luckily, he's preventing you from sliding into the water wheel itself.
Oh, that's good. At least there's that.
Famous Holbein's going to move through your space. Aha! That's as far as he can go. Kajika.
Well, I guess I'll try to pull him out of the water. I don't.
Yep, athletics check. So this time you are able to pull him up onto the bank, although he's prone on the bank.
So Lucharosi, out of breath from trying to prevent himself from drowning as the water is rushing over his face and body, is huffing and puffing. He's like, "Thank you, Kajika. Thank you."
You weigh a lot.
And Zari's turn.
We'll have my spiritual weapon hit first.
It hits.
For, whatever critical amount of damage. How's she looking?
Actually, with that, you can see, although he's still paralyzed and held in place, you imagine that probably did her in. But she's not like falling over because she's still held in place.
All right. Then I'm going to cast Spare the Dying on her.
Okay.
Does it feel like it took hold?
Yeah, there's no reason it wouldn't.
What's that?
There's no reason it wouldn't, so.
All right. I mean, if she was just faking it.
I mean, that's very hard to tell. You're with your medical knowledge, you're pretty sure that if you release the whole person, that she would just slump over.
All right, then. Yeah, so I do the Spare the Dying, and then I'll let go. So that she falls, and then these two can see that she fell.
So she falls.
And I look past her, I guess, to former Seamus, and just say, "It is done."
Oh boy.
Seamus walks up and kicks her. She's dead.
What's that?
She's dead then. He can't tell.
She is what she needs to be.
He could be kicking a rock. Looks like it's dead. Yeah.
She didn't even kick.
He can't tell what you're saying to him either. Where is my act? Where is the hold mine act?
Shouldn't it be on the ground?
No, it was in Lucharosi's hand. I'm waiting to figure out if he still has it.
Yeah, so hopefully he didn't drop it in the fucking river there.
Do I have to make a check for that?
Yeah, it would be an athletics check.
Did you hide it under the water wheel?
Yeah, you're pretty sure it went into the mud when you went into the water.
All right. Well, that one I'm going to use an action point for because I feel like that's something I don't want to do something with.
Okay.
You were clearly able to maintain a grip on it.
All right. I'm so glad that I didn't use my action points for anything else before.
So it's T-Hole's turn. Gruzza is on the ground in front of you.
Well, so T-Hole's like, so she's dead, and then he's like winking. So I guess we should just leave her. What next? Daggerface?
Well, some example must be made. Perhaps we can put her head on a spear.
That seems a bit ghoulish.
Many places will display the heads of notorious murderers. She deserves no better. What would you suggest?
So Hellweir would slowly walk towards them with the donkey and be like, "If you intend to put her head on a spear, you might as well do it yourself, fuckface."
Yeah, Daggerface has no idea who you were referring to with that. He doesn't understand Buttface is him.
He means Daggerface.
What? I'm not a Buttface. I'm Daggerface.
Where are the others?
Well, Lucharosi fell into the river.
He had your axe.
What? And he goes running.
Splash.
And he gets to about here when he has to stop. But he looks deadly intent on trying to cross this water wheel and get to Lucius. So we can come out of turns. There's nothing going on really that requires turns. Assuming people stop him from trying to climb the wheel.
Yes.
I'm gonna start tying up Gruzza.
He will become. We'll pick it up there next time, but he will become a little upset when he realizes Gruzza's alive, because she's a murderer, and he knows she's a murderer. But like, what proof do you have of that?
Yeah.
Right.
What a great defense.
Well, maybe we at least saw Gruzza. We have enough. We have cause enough for Gruzza because we saw her in the temple. So
Right.
she ran away. So we know that there's at least she's very implicit in all of this. So we would.
She acknowledged that she attacked you. You just didn't think you should feel so upset about it.
We're going with the Hellware standard for evidence, so she's guilty.
She also eats babies.
Yep, that too.
But yeah, just to kind of fast forward some things at least a little bit, Lucius is fully intent on giving Daggerface his axe. So.
Okay. Like I said, this is where we'll pick it up. We'll decide what you want to do with Gruzza, since Lucius may not feel the same as Daggerface or other people. But
Right.
you can think about it. There will be a bit of an issue in proving what crime she's committed, because what evidence really is there. There's your word, but you're not going to stick around for a trial to be witnesses. Maybe you could take her to Watchtower and trade on your recent fame.
Just kill her here. There's nobody
Right.
else around.
You could just kill her here. That's where Lucius may have a problem. May not.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, Zarius is not a good character, but he's not evil.
Yeah, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, I would also add the churches sort of expect that Lucius will deal out justice as he goes. So while it makes sense to turn people over to the authorities, particularly where you have questions, if you don't have questions, you are authorized to mete out justice.
Right, and Lucius fully intends to do that because he's had to do it before, but he's going to wait at least until he can get a zone of truth memorized and do some of that, which also would be helpful because Gruzza has mentioned having some kind of patron or boss or somebody, so getting more information about that person would be useful.
Yeah, that's why T-Hole really didn't want to kill her. He wanted to paralyze her, stun her, knock her out, so we could get some of that sweet info.
I mean,
Yes,
Daggerface, in the sort of post-combat thing, Daggerface would take Kajika and Lucius aside and say, let's just not tell anybody about me falling into the river, because that is really not going to enhance my adventurer reputation.
So long as you also don't tell them about my incident, I think we're good.
So he does a pinky swear with Lucius to never reveal each other's secrets.
Why are you too wet?
And covered in mud.
Yeah, Arnold look going on.
Yeah.
Looking like I'm ready to face a predator.
Stop